All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Pass the Barb. I'm your host, Ryan Pinkalla. I got two of the boys joining me tonight. To my this side, Mr. Adam
That would be your
Bartusek.
left,
I don't know. I was like
right?
this. L. One of these is an L.
Yeah.
It's like this way.
Well, it's inverse. Like
It
I
is.
think this is my left, but it's
like
actually your
we're
right.
in the Matrix, dude. It's like I don't know how to do this stuff. But we got Adam Bartusek joining us tonight. What's up, dude?
Yeah, I am back. I didn't make the last one. I was busy, but good to be back. Back on the road, and just excited to chat with everyone and get back into it a little bit.
You're looking fresh, bud.
Yeah, I'm currently. I just showered, but I'm currently. I'm currently trying to watch this LSU Iowa game finish up. So
You look
locked
focused.
in.
Focused.
Yeah, I am.
Got
I'm
a lot
in
of
my
money on this
hotel
one?
room and my TV's literally right here. So I'm just trying to see how this goes. We got 6 minutes left. That's about it. So that's what's going on. But we are the number one outdoor podcast in the world now. So that's pretty cool.
Which
So
is
thank you.
incredible. I cannot believe the streak.
It is just insane. People are the best. I can't believe they just keep rating us number one. We pass everybody.
It's hard to really believe that we've reached this kind of a fan base, but what are you going to
pretty
do?
impressive.
I mean, I'm not going to argue,
Yeah.
I mean, you just step back and you watch the work. We've done the work, and you watch. Everybody watches, and they're appreciating this art that we're putting on the canvas for you all.
It's incredible. It's incredible. And, hope it just keeps rolling. Really.
Yeah.
And then on the bottom of the screen here, looking seriously like an angler today, Mr. Cody.
Oh, I was. Check these bad boys out.
Were you angling?
Oh yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Flipping tungsten today.
Those are my sunglasses.
Shattered.
That's all I got left. Yep. All the Costas from previous years. Yeah, those are left in hotels and campgrounds in the water somewhere. This is the last remaining pair. Thank God Bahio is sending me a couple more. But yeah, I was actually doing some fishing.
Incredible.
Believe it or not, it was incredible. It was a feat of I didn't believe I'd have the time myself, but I was doing some trout fishing.
Unreal.
I
never thought I'd see the day.
God, you are a true Sims pro now.
I know. That's what I thought. Look at this. I'm out in the streams. I got my G3s on. I feel legit.
Boy.
I mean, I'm using gear, so it's kind of cheating. But you
don't tell anyone that you were fly.
But he has
fishing.
a
No, I was
carbon
fly
fiber
fishing.
net. So
yes, absolutely. Yep. It's dipped in lavender, so like a velvet lavender, so their skin
like
is
those
nice
peasants.
and smooth. Oh, those don't even go there. I don't even want to talk about those people that grab trout. You net them, you tweeze them off, and then you release them.
That's so rad, dude.
Oh, dude, it was so sick. I did that like 10 times today. Like I felt my plums getting swollen with how much testosterone was pumping through my body, ripping out
the wet-handed fondle. Just
it's fantastic, fantastic. Yep. No, that's what I was doing, ripping brook trout and brown trout out.
Of Wisconsin. Incredible.
That is so exciting.
It was very exciting. Adam, don't rain on my parade. This is the happiest I've been in quite some time.
No, that's good. I'm not raining on your parade. That sounds fantastic.
Oh my God. Well, all right. So Bart, you're on the road right now. Where are you at? What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm down in Iowa right now. I am so I picked up my boat a couple weeks ago. But I mean, since I was last on, where was I last time? I'm trying to remember why I wasn't. Oh, I was up at Lake of the Woods. I was ice fishing.
Were ice fishing.
That's right. Yeah, I was still ice fishing. I had a trip. I gifted Alyssa's dad as a birthday gift, the late ice pike tip up fishing. I did listen to the podcast, and you predicted that I would not fish. You would be correct. I did not do anything. I literally just went up there and hung out and just looked at tip ups. So every once in a while I go check them. That's about it. So yeah, I did a little bit of that tip up fishing. got home, and then kind of my annual break, I call it, was I got to my house on Thursday of March Madness, and I sat on my couch for 4 days in a row, and I watched basketball and bass fishing. I watched the Bassmaster Classic, so I literally did nothing for 4 or 5 days. It was amazing. And then, did a little bit of work and stuff last week, getting ready for the holidays. And then, came down here, and I've been breaking my boat in and just shaking rust off, going fishing because my tournament season starts in like 2 weeks. And I haven't obviously open water fished much. And previously, I've just been like, oh, I'll just run down there and get everything rolling when practice actually gets going. And it never goes really well.
No.
So this time I was like, you know what? I'm going to just book a week down in Iowa. The weather sucks. The weather sucks. Whatever it is, I just need to go out, launch the boat, drive the boat, operate things, retie lines, like just literally
cast.
Well, you got like a brand new boat.
Yeah, it has 3.6 hours on the motor now. So
nice.
What is your new one?
It's the same thing. It's a Cayman CX20.
Yeah. Is it like noticeably different than the one you had before? Or is it like, what do you think of it?
This one gets out of the hole faster. I would say that. Other than that, I haven't really gotten to open it up yet. So I got down here last Friday at like noon. And that first 2 hours of your break-in, you're just supposed to like change your RPMs like every 3 minutes, but you're not supposed to open it up. So I hadn't opened it up. And then Saturday, when I actually had the 2 hours on it, before I came home went back to the cities for Easter quick, it was blowing like 28. And you can't really open it up when there's like pretty substantial waves. So I haven't. And then today, I mean, it was like I don't know how it was. It's snowing. It was raining, but it was like 34. So it was about the coldest scenario you can have being in a boat. So other than that, I haven't really opened it up. I got new graphs. Got target lock now, so I'm messing around with that. Just like I said, just trying to get everything a little bit dialed. But in regards to like the actual boat, it's pretty much the same. I'm trying to figure a few things out with running it, but might have to get some weights for the back of it to get the nose up a little more to go faster. But it's kind of typical with the batteries now.
You just pop that plug right out.
Yeah, and then that's too much weight.
Well, you close it eventually.
Yeah, true. Actually,
just let a little in.
That is fair. But yeah, no, the boat's been good. So that's been fun, and yeah, it's just fun to be open water fishing again, and
at least you're in the boat, like out there, doing it,
getting ready for tournament season. So I don't think, looking at the calendar, I probably won't be on. Nope, I won't be on the next podcast too, and that's because I'll be at. I haven't really talked about it on the podcast much, but I got invited to go fish the FLW Invitational on Kentucky, so I signed up for it. That's why I'm down here, is just getting really familiar with my boat and everything, because actually I have a really important tournament that I think I can do really, really well in, and I don't want to screw the pooch, so. Just
preferably not
into that. Yeah. Really would like to not do that.
Nice. Yeah, that'll be a good event, and you're kind of coming maybe a little bit more pre-spawn, or when is the event actually happening?
It's the exact same day.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh,
that's why I signed up for it.
Yeah.
There's a full moon 2 days after it. So I'm pretty pumped. It should be fun. It's been pretty cold down there. I mean, the reason I'm here, not Kentucky, is the whole thing went off limits for me. I think it was 2 weeks ago now. So I can't go there. I can't get any information or anything on it other than public info, and obviously keeping tabs on everything going on. But this weekend it was like 80 degrees every day, so I wasn't really a fan of that. But this cold front we have here right now is going to hit down at Kentucky, starting like tomorrow through Saturday-ish, which should push everything the way I want it to go. So I think it'll be pretty fun. I'm excited for it. I will tell you,
you already kind of know what you're getting into, you know?
Yeah, I have a pretty good idea of what I'm getting into. I got a pretty strong game plan of what I think I'm going to do. I think I'm probably going to have to mix in largemouth more. We're going to have to see how the water levels and everything shake out. The one thing I will say is, like, based off of everything we've seen from the Elite Series and Invitationals and BPT and everything, now having to go fish like a pro level event, I am so scared of these 22-year-old live scopers, dude. They're fucking terrified.
Yeah, honestly.
Because I'm like, I know what I'm gonna go do. I know what I found, and like I know that it can be found with a live scope, and I'm just like, oh god.
Yeah, like there's gonna be tons of people on your stuff.
Maybe.
Well,
potentially, you know.
Who's the?
But still,
they're all like, you know, I have to go fish against them now. Now I used to just watch it and job out.
Who's the guy? Who's that local hammer down there that wins like everything?
Jake Lawrence.
Jake Lawrence. So like he just won the Open there in first week of March.
Yeah, he won the Toyota Series there the first week of March. Yeah.
Or yeah, okay.
He's the one who beat me in the Toyota Series last year.
Okay.
He's won every big tournament on that lake for like 4 years now.
Yeah. So whatever he's finding is still going. Because I mean,
he's fishing too.
Well, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm just saying. Like, I mean, obviously there's other stuff that's playing too. Because like, if he's still doing it, like he's not like a young guy, right?
He's our age.
I was gonna say, I think he's my age.
I thought he was. I thought he was older age.
No, we were fishing in college. At the same time he was fishing in college.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. He's just, I mean, absolute hammer. But yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of different stuff going on down there now. Kentucky Lake's massive, and yeah, I mean, we'll see how everything shakes out with the water levels. I mean, there's a lot of factors on the TVA to get it to line up right. I think. Once again, I've only been there once. But I'm kind of betting the farm on hoping it goes the way I would like it to. But I think a lot of things will line up well. The only other thing that's kind of a pain, I was talking to Easton Fothergill about this the other day. I was texting him. There's a Bassmaster College event the day before our invitational and the same day as day one as our invitational.
Classic.
Oh, like there's actually a tournament day.
Oh,
and it's like a 200+ boat college event.
Excellent.
Bass or FLW scheduled on top of each other. So I'm like, not only am I worried about the 150 or, you know, the 100 young 20-year-olds fishing the invitationals, that
now you actually have all 20-year-olds.
Now I have a whole college base in a different tournament. I have to worry about doing the
and the best part about that is not even the fishing aspect, is just the absolute fuckery of the driving around that lake with that many guys.
Oh,
it's gonna be a fucking disaster.
Terrible.
Like if you want a white knuckle ride, just go down through a college takeoff.
So
you're wondering if the boat in front of you is actually going to get up on pad or not.
We're taken out of Calvert City, which is in north end of Kentucky, and then they're taken out of Paris.
Well, that's nice at least.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that, like, I mean, I had fish on the whole lake. I'm just hoping that, like, okay, if maybe they stay more down by Paris, and then I'll just kind of focus elsewhere, or I don't know. Maybe they're going to be on the whole lake. I have no idea.
So I feel like people just run, dude. Because like,
I
remember when we fished that in college. We went out of Paris too, and fuck, did we burn some gas on that place?
I feel like when you're down in Paris, though, people tend to run down to New Johnsonville
at times, but it depends on, like, I've always seen, or I guess I've seen where Paris was like the juice, like the Paris, New Johnsonville were the juice. Like if you're launching on the north end, everyone's running down there. But then in the last few years,
everyone's like,
everyone runs north.
But it also depends like where the clean water's at and shit too. Yeah. Like, you know.
Yeah. No, it'll be interesting. So I'm excited for that. like since I got back from that one last year, I told you guys like, yeah, I'm super excited for whenever there's a next one there. And I guess this is that next one. So I've been looking forward to this one for about a full year now. I didn't know if I was going to get into it or not because they don't accept people for one-off events. Like,
really?
No.
Okay.
Never. Because this is a pro circuit. So
right. But they let you just jump into one.
Yeah. I hit up Kevin Hunt when the schedule first came out, and I was like, if you guys have an open spot, let me know. And he hit me up. And he was like, yeah, you can come fish it if you put down your deposit on Friday. And I was like, all right, deal. So
damn. Yeah. Are you doing do you have any other events you already know you're doing for sure this year, or like any other tournament stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing like the Bassmaster Opens and the Minnesota Bass Nation Team Trail, but like my first tournament of the year is by far my biggest, most important one as of right now. So
yeah, for sure. Okay. But you got like a full schedule then, right?
Yeah, no warm up, cold turkey, baby. Like,
yeah.
That's like I'm down here this week, and then Friday I go home. Alyssa and I are going on vacation down to South Carolina for 4 days. I'll get back home, and then I'm pretty sure I'm gonna drive somewhere and go fish for like 2 days, and then I'm gonna drive to Kentucky and get everything rigged, and it'll be day one. So
sick.
Yeah, it's rapid fire now. Just learn. So.
Well, that'll be good to get your ball rolling for the whole season. Because that team trail is how many events? Like 5 or so?
Yeah, it's four, and then if you make the championship.
Okay. So that's not like crazy then, but
no. And then the opens, there's 3 of them. That'll be fun. I mean, go try to do well on St. Clair. Probably take like 150th, weighing in 18 pounds, and be like,
man. Honestly, though.
Yeah, like this is so much fun, and I am totally gonna get crushed.
No,
having a ball. But yeah, no, I'm excited about it. Should be a good time. But
right on. Hahner, what about you? Are you got? I mean, I know you're still working or whatever, but what you got? Any fishing plans? You got the boat out yet, or what?
I don't have the boat out yet, but I was fishing all of last weekend, and we went out to Green Bay. Let's see, what was that?
Oh, it looked like that's
Friday?
been heating up. I've been seeing a lot more pictures getting posted from over there.
A lot of people out there.
Yeah, I went with my buddy. He's had just a unbelievable year as far as 30+ inch fish this year. Like his wife caught. I showed you, same buddy.
Yeah,
caught a 31 3/4 by 20. Like legit on a bump board, taped, absolute behemoth. And then we went out on Friday, like after he got done with work and stuff. We fished through the night, and like the casting bite was okay. Like we caught some fish doing that, like just some average like 25s or whatever, smaller females. And then we started trolling, and we caught a handful of other ones. And he's like, "Oh, I got a rod going off." Grabs his rod. I'm like, "Is it big?" He's like, "It's not really fighting." And I got the net like sitting in the back of his boat. I'm like, "Oh, it looks long." Scoop it up. He takes the bait out. I wish I would have had the full video of it. He's like, "Yeah, this thing's like fresh post spawn." Slaps it on the board. Another 30.5. Like what the
like not even excited.
Dude, not even excited. We weren't even excited. We're like, "Oh, it looks sickly." Ew. Like you guys are spoiled.
They have been steady stacking though. I've been seeing some of the
they
stuff
have been crushing
on Instagram, and it's just disgusting.
I think between him and his wife, that's like, I don't know, like getting close to 10 over 30 this year.
Yeah. Well, they're like getting numbers too, though. Like not just
huge, big numbers. Yeah. Big numbers. Like they've had some trips. Dude. Some serious trips. But yeah, so I did that, and then I've been wanting and meaning to for the last few years to get into the steelhead thing. And I told myself this is the year I'm actually doing it. I'm doing it this year. And Leslie was working. She's a tax professional, so she's like super busy this time of year. So I had the day to myself, and I went out to like the Kewanee, Sheboygan area to go steelhead fishing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a full-blown Sims guy. That was the most awesome shit I've ever seen in my entire life. That was I don't know where I have been and what I've been doing. All in on that. It's like flats fishing smallmouth. It's the same mentality.
Yeah.
Except there's debris and sticks in your way, so you gotta like put your little spawn sack. If you're not in like a good area, you gotta put your spawn sack through twigs, and then hope that your 8-pound test and like rod actually can pull back like this 35-inch fish from jumping over a log and breaking you off. It's awesome.
So were you like way up the tribs or what?
Yeah, way up. Yep.
Because
it was super sick.
The last times that I've done that, it's been a little while, but I always went like to Milwaukee. You know, and like down there, it's a little different. Like, I mean, yeah, if you go like way up the river, it's kind of more like that. But that shit like down kind of towards like Miller Park and stuff, where it's all like
industrial,
like the concrete down there, and like it's just like, you know, you're fishing around. There's just like shopping carts and shit.
Yeah,
there's like needles floating by.
Yeah.
You're like, we're in it. Like we are in it right here.
We're in
and
the
then
sass.
Like, and then there's like giant steelhead like on a red, you know?
Yeah.
And you're like, what is this place?
What is this? No, definitely
Did you
wasn't. I didn't, honestly, I did not crush them. Like I'm so itching to get back. Yeah. I like my stuff is so undialed. Like, so I know very little about this fish.
Yeah.
And so what I thought I would need
ain't it.
Let's put it that way. I lost like there was fish because it's a lot of like sight fishing in those tributaries. Because I mean it's so shallow. Like there's pools and stuff, but you can still see them. So you're basically sight fishing and trying to figure out how to get them to react and like what baits you got to use to get them to react, or at least just gum it. And my shit ain't dialed even close. Even it is so far off. And I was just getting so aggravated. I'm like, you stupid. But yeah, the couple fish, couple really good fish. I think I had like 9 or 10 bites that day. I caught 3 smaller ones, like 20 to 22s. Yeah. And then I was working on some like really big ones, because like in those groups you can see the size of the fish. Like there's 15 inchers, there's 20 inchers, there's 25s, and then there's like way over 30s, like ridiculously big browns, like 40-inch browns, 38-inch, like just giant fish. And I got like I know I got one of those to bite, and I lost it, and then I lost like 3 more over like that 30 to 35 range. And I was so mad, I threw like a total bitch fit in the middle of nowhere by myself. I was like jumping and stomping on the ground, like stupid. But it was awesome.
Oh my god,
it was so much fun.
Yeah,
it was so much fun.
They're badass fish though. Like especially in that shallow water, it's like totally different game. But
yeah,
God, yeah, that fires me up. Like I keep thinking about like making a trip over there every spring, and I just haven't in a while. But
yeah, dude, it was like something, because I've been doing this trout fishing, like this like inland trout fishing, because that's kind of all we got over in this area where I'm working, and it's been super fun. I mean, there's nobody out here. I can go for miles and miles and miles and like find new different stretches of streams that are good and stuff. And it's kind of like, I don't know, it keeps my mind into it, but. So I've like wanted to go after, instead of like 12 to 18-inch fish, go after like 35-inch fish in the same place. Like that'd be sick. And it is a completely different ball game.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
I know, and it's rare. You know, we've been fishing this long where you don't have like you've got a pretty good grasp on a walleye, pretty good grasp on a smallmouth, a largemouth, a muskie. Like I know generally what to do. This. Not
just like
shot.
What is this?
Not a shot. I don't know what to do with it. Its behavior is different. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So it's been like I'm addicted now.
That's
gotta learn it. Yeah.
God, Sims Pro.
Oh, yeah, it's incredible. Look at you.
Look at this. Even the faded hat.
He's got the full fit.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
God.
Unreal.
I just need a fish whistle from Sims and I'll be set.
Oh my God.
How about you, Pink? What you been up to?
Haven't really been fishing. Like the last time I was out was on that Costa Rica trip, which I'll probably talk about that a little bit later. But I've been like this past week, I was just like straight gearing up. I did a big cooking event, which was actually super badass. That was like I guess it was semi-fishing related. It was at the Vexlar headquarters. I did basically like all the food for they do a big party on Good Friday every year. It's like a company tradition thing. But this year was kind of like a unique one because it was the also Steve, the owner up until he sold the company this year for he owned the company for 30 years or something.
Yeah, it was a long time.
So it was also his retirement party. So there was a whole bunch of people from the fishing industry that showed up at this thing, which was pretty sweet, honestly. And so they asked me to cook for the event and everything. And I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. And we set up a kitchen in their loading dock. And it was built out of pallets and stuff. It was honestly really badass. Even just rolling in there, I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be sick,
That's sweet.
And so we set it all up, and I'd say there was maybe about 60 people there that showed up to this party. So it was nice. It wasn't insane big, but it was a good size event. And they had the whole warehouse set up as tables and everything. And we were in the back just cooking like crazy. It was fun because most of the time it's me or a couple other people around doing stuff, but we had a pretty good crowd around the cooking thing the whole time, which was pretty fun, so you're kind of I don't know,
chef.
Yeah, it's we had the show going on too, so that was pretty badass. And we threw down a ton of food because Waldron actually dropped off at my house, so they keep fish for this event throughout the year or winter or whatever. So they kind of collectively pool a bunch of meat. And so he came over on Wednesday and dropped off this cooler of just steaks of walleyes.
There's always so many giant walleyes, and you're like, where do these come from?
They all come from Lake Winnipeg. These people from Vax go up to Lake Winnipeg and just harvest. I don't know. Because I cut open all these vacuum seal bags of just greenbacks, dude. They still have a little square of skin on them, so they can bring them home or whatever. But yeah, I was staking out all these walleye fillets and stuff. And it was sick. I actually, it was fun having a bunch of people there, and I got a bunch of good pictures of the whole thing. I posted a bunch of them on Instagram too. And it was super fun event, like I said, and having a bunch of, I would say people that have been in the industry a long time show up at that was cool to kind of see, because they're all buddies, with Steve, obviously, because he's been there for 30 some years, and having a bunch of those guys show up at that was cool to kind of watch, and all their, people they've worked with forever. So it was I don't know, I guess what you'd expect from a retirement party in the fishing industry, right?
Yeah.
But no, it was fun. Got to hear a lot of good stories and stuff like that. And some of the other boys were there. Sobe was there, and he hung out the whole time, was helping, and Spock helped me cook the whole time, which was pretty fun. So we were talking about rocks a lot.
Yeah, there was a lot of, I would imagine there was a lot of rock talk.
Yeah, talking rocks big time. But
dude, I was jealous. I wish I could have been there. I would have planned on it, honestly. This happens every single year.
Yep.
Every year. I called Griff on the way down when I'm driving down here.
Yeah.
And I was like, did you go to it? And he's like, oh, I didn't know about it. So I didn't make any plans. I was like, yeah, Waldron texted me the morning of it and was like, hey, the fish fries today if you want to swing by. I'm like, could you give me a couple week head notice? I'd make plans around it if I had an idea. And he's always like, well, dude, it's this annual thing. And I'm like, you say this every year. And then it's coming back around, and I'm like, okay, I'll remember it for next year. And then it comes back around, and I'm like, oh, I forgot. And
I think you legit invited people, and it wasn't my thing to invite people to, obviously. So I was just in my, I was pretty focused on this for like a solid week because I was like trying to make sure I had everything dialed, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, then like once it was starting,
and there's
to go
no
down,
talk in our group text or anything. This is happening.
There was
like,
nothing
brought up at all.
And I know that's why I texted you. I was like, "Oh, dude, like I know I've been
it,
totally
but
MIA, but
this is in 4 hours, and we're like best friends, and I have no clue this is happening."
I was honestly sweating it until like I got there and got everything set up, and then I was like, all right, game time, we're gonna crush this, you know. But like everything leading up to it, I was like, fuck, I gotta make sure I got this and this. But no, it went really good. We crushed it. People were psyched on the food too. Like I think it turned out really, really good. And
nice.
Yeah. So that I don't know. It's kind of a different deal, but it's like stressing leading up to it, game on, and then you just blow through it all, and you're like, all right, that was cool, you know. Plus, everyone's always excited about food, so it's like, you know, as long as you do it right, people are hyped, and you're just like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So now I'm probably gonna at least get my mind back on some sort of fishing stuff. I think I might try to get out, do some crappie fishing maybe next week, and see how things are shaping up that way. But I don't know. We'll see what the weather does.
I found a shitload of crappies, I think, today. I didn't have a rod. I didn't have a rod out.
Suckers. They were suckers.
Crappie Chronicles.
No, they were very, very schooled.
No.
Right?
Crappie Chronicles.
I don't know. Speaking of, since it's going to be...
Why didn't you just catch one?
Well, with 34 degrees and my minnow rod was in the bottom of my rod locker, and I did not feel like bending down and pulling that out.
Well, it sounds like this Camus isn't super set up for multi-species angling, is what it sounds like to me.
No, it absolutely is not. It is a bass fishing rig.
Jesus Christ.
So no, I need to pull that out tomorrow though, because I think if they are crappies, I actually do have some stuff I could try to catch them with. I could check that out. I did. One side of one of these lakes I was in is straight panfish. Like on live, it is like all panfish. Then you go anywhere else, nothing. Conveniently, that's where I caught my 4.5-pound largemouth under a dock. Who would have thought?
Crazy. Looking at Okoboji, where would I have gone to go catch a largemouth? A dock.
Yeah, once again, Hahner, when we were like today was the best day.
You're going to want to run that pattern.
Okay. I forgot to respond. I read your entire message.
No, you're good. But you think like today is the right day to go dock fishing? No, it's 35 cloudy, raining, and the water kept 41 degrees.
Well, obviously it was. So
no, I caught one. But here's the thing, like Hahner said, like me getting ready for going down south, I needed to cast. Yeah. So I was like, I'm just gonna put it in and burn around these docks, and I'm just ting, like picking them apart. And I'm like, I know there's nothing under this right now. They are all out here somewhere, but it is blowing and cold, and I'm just gonna do this and maybe catch one. And yeah, I skipped under one piling, and my jig was going down, and all of a sudden my line started going, and I was like, oh my god! And I leaned back, and I was like, oh wow, it's big.
Yeah, but see, you're flipping a jig. You're getting that like nice line peel off and everything. You should have just been hucking a square bill into the wind, you know, just get it back. You know?
I did actually throw a fritz side for a while too, and I threw a jerkbait a bunch in between docks, like I threw it down the break to try to get any. I never got one. So
yeah, my odds, I would have flipped into a dock, been like, think that thing is just swimming off, set back into it. It's a 17-inch walleye. Guaranteed.
Leaning on them.
Yeah. No, it was good.
All right. Well, I think we'll get into we'll have more fishing talk here once we're getting closer to like actually the water being above 40 goddamn degrees. But are you gonna fish that tournament before we record next?
I will be down there during practice.
Okay, so you won't be.
There's probably. I might be able to get on here to record like after I get off the water, but I'm going to be on the water until the sun sets. So,
yeah.
Okay. Well, I do have, we do have a guest joining us here, but I do have I have an update from Will that I want to share quick.
Ooh, is Hahner eating this?
Well, he can't, it's really short.
He did so good on the first one, and now he just sucks. This is stupid.
All right. Here, I'll send it to you right now, and you can peruse, if you will. But he did
got all these wild raging reviews of the Diary of Wild Bill, and then he's like, yeah, I'm gonna make sure all these segments suck after that.
Well, I will say this, it is 100% Will's fault. So there it is. Yeah. I said it.
So everyone DM Will and be like, dude.
I just texted it to Will. Like, here you go, bud. God damn it. But he did. Well, here I'll send you that. There's a second part, so you can peruse that. But I did. I've been talking to him periodically over the past couple weeks, and I'll let you read through these. But then I'll give you a little bit more than what he wrote here. Even though I feel like I did ask him to send me this, and he blatantly ignored that until like minutes ago. So, God damn it, I sent it to Will again. He's getting all his own messages.
That's his punishment for not putting effort in,
I guess. All right, there you go. Oh, and now he won't be able to read it and talk to us at the same time.
That could be a thing. That could be. I just thought of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think of it, but now the fact that he is gone makes me think that this could potentially be a problem.
Yeah. Are you going to be able to read this to us while it's
okay? Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, we got it.
This is from Will. He told me to read this.
Will Stolsky. Co-host of Pass the Barb.
The Diaries of Wild Bill. Stag season winding down here in Argentina. We're on our last group of clients right now. Plenty around still. About 3 more weeks here. On to more fishing after this. Vamos, chicos.
He's learning a lot more Spanish.
Pause. Also, please add, I met the love of my life here and am almost certainly getting married to an Argentine beauty. Wow.
That's it. That's what we got.
That's it. That's all we got. I got nothing to work with here. Come on, Will.
Send us any. Everybody message Bill. Tell him, and if we don't get pics of who this chick is, she's fake. It's probably a dude.
If he doesn't send us her OnlyFans, I'm not even going to believe this for 2 seconds.
No, I can't work with this. I can't work with it.
He's giving me some BS how he's out with all these bougie ass clients. You know, they're taking him out to dinner. He can't talk. I'm like, I don't give a shit. We got things to do here, brother.
It's easy to sit down and send in your diary.
But they have been smashed in these stags, dude. I don't know if you've been seeing the pictures they've been posting down there.
Yeah,
crushing them.
It's been sick.
Is that Will?
No.
Weird. All right.
This is Gage. Say wah wee wah. All right. Yeah, he hates his life as much as me.
Oh, cool. Right on.
Yep.
Sims Pro too?
He went trout fishing today too. He hasn't caught trout in 3 trips.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Not dialed.
I'm trying to teach him.
So we got our new segment, Pink.
Yeah, why don't you load us up?
It's a recurring segment, but now I don't think we've done it since.
It hasn't recurred yet, actually. This is the recurring.
So now it's returning. So we had Chad Smith on before. This is called Single Shot. We're gonna have a guest on. We're gonna ask them one question each. And only one question, and then they're out. So,
all right, Bart, do you want to introduce our guest here before I bring him in?
Yeah. So our guest is infamous man from Minnesota. Almost cut his leg off with an ice auger on Red Lake, if I remember right. And now resides in the northeast of the United States of America, if I also remember right.
Wow, that's highly specific on geographical terms.
And he's on Sobe's channel all the time. Well, it used to be.
He has his own goddamn YouTube channel. Don't tell me that he's on Sobe's YouTube channel. This is
B-Rock Outdoors.
B-Rock Outdoors. But his name down here says Big B, so it's Big B.
All right.
That might confuse everybody.
Big B, we're bringing me in, Big B. God.
What's up?
There he is.
Can you guys hear me? First and foremost, can you guys hear me?
We can hear you.
Don't ask us that question. You only get one question.
Okay, fair.
But yes, thank you for joining us. And
no, thank you guys.
Be rocking the house, people.
I'm ready. What you guys got for me?
Who wants to lead this off? The single shot. Hahner, take your stab.
Do you got it, or do you want me to go? Or
load one up. You see the man.
Have you or have you not pooped your pants at a Bassmaster Classic?
That was not me. No, it wasn't me. Nope. I know someone who did, though. I can't believe that just came out. But yeah, I definitely know someone who did. Oh, man. Good times. Good times.
He said it wasn't him, though. So
yeah, but he knows.
All right.
But he knows someone it was.
Oh, yeah, that was
good. That was good. So since you have moved to the Northeast, what is the sketchiest place you have gone fishing?
Well, okay, I got two answers. Me and Murdo went to New York City like last week or 2 weeks ago. And just the crazy cats that roll around and just like running through the subway system, smelling piss, smelling shit throughout the whole subway system. I'd say that was pretty wild. But like actually fished, I'd say just the river. It's a tidal fishery, so water's always going up, always going down. Launching your boat if you're not used to that whole.
That's my one.
Shut up, Bart. Stop talking.
But yeah, if you're not used to the whole current thing and then water going this way and then water going that way, launching the boat can be a pretty difficult challenge.
Incredible. All right. My question.
Yeah. What you got?
And this can be based on your entire life. It doesn't have to be just since you moved.
Okay.
What is the furthest distance you have ever driven with your eyes closed?
Ooh. 3.5 minutes.
Jesus.
and it was an accident. Me and Augie were heading to Michigan for a softball tournament, and you could say I passed out at the wheel, and I woke up like 3 lanes over in the middle of Chicago. So we hit the old Oasis and pulled off there and crashed in the parking lot. And yeah, then we got to move it in the morning.
Fantastic.
I mean, I can't really give you a certified time, but 3.5.
Oh, I think that's sufficient.
Right. Yeah, that was pretty wild.
All right, then. Big B, do you have a question for us?
I got 2 questions. One, favorite
you get one question in single shot. How would our guests do not get this? Chad did the same fucking thing.
Okay, what's your favorite brisk flavor? Since I'm hammering this brisk right now.
Are we just going? I can't ask you a question. Let's go
around. Original brisk.
Just like
straight from the teat.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
I will go with the raspberry.
Also a banger.
Love
like
the raspberry.
Whatever the strawberry, the pink one.
Yeah. That's
strawberry
something.
Good. It's strawberry something.
Yeah, for sure.
I can't ask a question.
Yeah, no, that's Thanks for joining us, Big B.
No problem, boys.
My favorite every time. Quick segment.
Oh God. 3.5 minutes, dude?
That's incredible.
Totally pooped his pants.
He knows someone.
Yeah, I know someone. He's me.
I'm him.
That's not what he answered. He said he knows someone.
It's so bad. Oh God.
All right, what do we got next, Pink?
That was beautiful. All right, why don't you feed us a new segment here, Bart?
We going to Bassmaster?
We'll do that next. Why don't you give us a little Bart sports here? I want to see what this is all about.
Sure. Well, yeah, we don't have a good name for it yet, but just in general, we should talk about. In general, we should just talk about sports. When we first started this podcast, we talked about sports a little bit, and there's, I guess there were a couple things I kind of wanted to touch on since we kind of were coming up with new segments and everything, but the first thing. Well, the number one thing I would say first was the NFL having Patrick Mahomes win another Super Bowl. I was like, why do we have to have 2 dynasties in a row? That's really disheartening when you're a fan who hasn't won anything. So you just know you have to get through that.
You got Aaron Jones, though.
We did. We got Aaron Jones from you guys. I actually thought the presser afterwards where they were like, there was like a question of like, yeah, who do you like? Something about who's on the roster or whatever, and he's like,
I don't know idea. I don't know anyone here
over there. I'm not a part of the team, and it's like it's been one day, and you're like, "Ooh, this guy's pissed."
Yeah,
like really pissed.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't understand that one, but
no. So the biggest thing I wanted to get into with this, since now we're in March, but and like March Madness is, in my opinion, the best time of year. Like, feel like everybody gets into it no matter what.
Do you think, just answer me because we're kind of in the middle of it right now. Do you like the earlier part or the later rounds better?
I like the opening weekend. Well, the actual games are way better later on. But the opening weekend is so much fun because it's just so much mayhem. And there's just constantly stuff happening.
The upsets and stuff like that.
Like, because people always work their way through. Like you have the which we were going to talk about. You have the NC State like Cinderella run this year, which like you normally have something like that happens for a while. They don't normally make it to the Final Four, but you got something like that happens. But normally it kind of works itself out after that first weekend. I just think it's funny that like you'll have one upset. And it's literally like one day, but like these people are ingrained in your memory for like years. And it literally was one day. And you're like, that guy was famous for a month. And you're like, no, he won on a Thursday. And then they got destroyed on Saturday.
Yeah.
You just completely blank that out of your memory, though, because they beat Kentucky, or whatever.
Butler.
The Butler runs when they got really big. Yeah, stuff like that. But I think so the March Madness this year, honestly, there wasn't that crazy. There was a couple crazy upsets early. Like I said, the NC State run I think has been fun. But have you guys seen their guy who is he's the leader of the team, the leading scorer? Yeah, DJ Burns.
Yes.
Dude, this guy is
big man.
Awesome. Pink, do you know who I'm talking about?
I haven't watched any of the games.
DJ Burns.
No, I've seen it on social media. I have not watched any games yet.
But the picture of him.
Yes.
This big
fantastic.
Dude, and it's so fun to watch because you're just like college basketball is the best because like this guy's not going to go to the NBA. He's not going to go to Europe. He's just on a 2-3 week just heater right now, and it's the absolute best because like he's very talented offensively and everything, but like I was watching him yesterday. Dude gets back on defense, stands in the middle of the lane, guards nobody, and goes, I can't get a foul because nobody else can really score that much, and it's just hilarious. It's so funny to watch. But yeah, their miracle run. Have you guys watched any of their games?
No, I haven't watched any of March Madness.
No,
just following the scores.
No, but you get characters like him, and he's the best. He was on a different podcast I listened to the other day, and like you could see an image of him. Guess what his side job is before like NIL deals and everything? Take a guess at what his side job was.
I have no idea.
Little Caesars.
He owns vending machines.
God damn it.
Of course, he's the fridge.
Like a guy who would own vending machines.
He's the fridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is funny, though, when you're like, okay, draw a picture of someone that would own vending machines. You'd be like, this?
Yeah. also dominates in street ball in New York City. Like, that's kind of his deal. So yeah, no, it's so fun to watch. That's why I love March. And then like when I got on today, I think the only thing that's kind of cool what's going on this year in March, I think, is this year women's basketball has like 1,000% more star power than men's. Just in terms of like obviously Caitlin Clark, which I'll talk about in a sec, but like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Paige Beckers, and then just there's a bunch of others that have been along the way, but like it seems like women's basketball has now like reached a level where like they're getting big NIL deals, they're getting coverage, and then like this game I was watching tonight, the Iowa LSU game, like I'm going to be very intrigued to see what like the national numbers for viewership is, because it's the repeat of the national title last year. This was the Elite Eight game, but like it's I think really cool to see like a women's sport in general there, like how much it's excelling because of like them promoting star power in a certain way. NIL deals has propelled it to a level, and then having someone like you guys probably haven't watched her, but like they just won, so they're gonna have a game Friday or Saturday, and this weekend for the Final Four on Sunday. Watch Caitlin Clark.
Oh, she's electric.
She is the best college basketball player
out
ever.
Of men or female. I
Ever.
would totally agree with you.
She dropped 41 tonight and had 9 threes.
Dude, and
it's not like she's like a spot up 3 shooter. It's like you give her the ball and she's like, "Watch me."
Yeah, she's electric. How she screams around, like she is fiery too.
Yeah,
she's fun to watch.
Ultimate competitor, makes all her teammates so much better. And like, what's so cool about her is she was a 5-star recruit in Iowa, small town, whatever in Iowa, had all the offers in the world to go anywhere. And she's like the only example ever of an athlete that goes, you know what, I'm going to stay home. And she stayed home in Iowa and brought them to now 2 Final Fours. And now they're in another Final Four. She's broken like every record in men's or women's college basketball.
That's insane.
And yeah, she's averaging like, I think this playoffs, it's like 30, it might be 35 points and like 9 assists. Like
it is wicked though in college sports, especially in basketball, how like one super dominant player can like carry an entire team for like a long time.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Versus like other sports where it's like it still helps, but like I feel like basketball is one of those sports like if you have someone that is just freaking on fire, like you can go really far with that.
Well, and like tonight's game, like right before we hopped on and started recording, like she had been doing pretty well, like playing all right. She was around like 15 points or something. And there was like a 4-minute span where she was just like, I'm going to take over. And just absolutely demolished. 20 points in 4 minutes, wiped out the game, took them up, just like looked at everybody and was like, all right, I'm going to put you on my back now. And just did it. Like it is so fun to watch because she is like, she will end up being one of the biggest, if not the biggest athlete ever in college basketball because she's brought millions upon millions upon millions of people into watching women's basketball because she's so much fun to watch.
Yeah, but that's good for like women's sports though too, to have like these really dominant players that are just like insane to watch because like it brings more hype, you know.
Well, and it's good too because I was thinking about this today because they were just talking about how Angel Reese, she just lost for LSU, but she could go to the WNBA next year, but she's in college and they're getting NIL money now. Mm-hmm. Well, so your rookie contract in the WNBA is $70,000 in the WNBA. Yeah. Whereas she could stay at LSU next year and probably sign an NIL deal for $1 million. So it's like, all these players now are going to stay in college longer because they can make more money than the pro league, which is going to push the pro league to need to get more money and more people. Like it's going to be good for everything.
Yeah.
But that's like, And I think the women's has really benefited from more and more people getting into the men's Final Four and March Madness and everything. And they've purposely looped their games around when like the men's is on, but like there's a break.
Yeah, right.
So like all of a sudden you're like, oh, college basketball's on and it's girls, and you're like, oh, I'll watch. And then, you know, all of a sudden they have this star power now. And it's like people are like, oh, this is pretty fun to watch. And like women's basketball is so much different to watch than men's. It tends to be so much more technical, but I feel like there's just so much more athletes now in women's basketball that it's just getting really exciting to watch. And yeah, anybody listening to this, because this will come out Wednesday, the Final Four is going to be this weekend. I'm sure you've seen on social media the hype of Caitlin Clark and everything, but like you legitimately need to sit down this weekend and watch her, because it's going to be it might be her last game because there's only potentially 2 left. And she will be like, not even
she's a senior this year, right?
She's literally the best ever.
Yeah.
And she's going to graduate this year. So sit down, watch it. Like, it's very worth your time. It is electric.
Sick. Yeah, I'll have to tune into that. Like I said, I've not been watching any March Madness stuff just because I haven't, whatever.
Yeah, no, and if you're not a basketball person, it's whatever. Like, I know this is my time of year because, like, I don't watch hockey.
I definitely, I do like that opening round though. Like you said, to like see a lot of these schools. That's like they're not going to go far, but like get to see them play, and then like obviously, like I'll watch the finals. Like probably like the Final Four on. I'll watch that like I normally do. But
I would just recommend to anyone this weekend, watch Caitlin Clark. Like, it is must see TV. Like I said, tonight in the Elite 8 game, everybody knew she was going to shoot. Everybody knows she's going to shoot, and she dropped 41. Right. That's how good she is.
That's why. Yeah, but it is like, though, no matter what the sport is, just watching people that are just so dominant play is just awesome.
Yes, and she's like, people have compared it to, and I like would agree, is like watching her is like watching when Steph Curry first came up and was just making it rain everywhere. It's that like same type of thing, except she's like even better. It's very cool to watch. So yeah. Sports wise, we'll check in on it more often. We're heading into the summer, so like there's not a lot going on. Baseball. Well, which by the way, did you guys hear about what went on with Shohei Ohtani?
Oh,
you've heard about this, Hahner. This is going to be very interesting. Yeah, well, he technically hasn't been gambling. If you're not watching on YouTube, there's quotes there. His translator suddenly got busted for like being in debt $4 million to a bookie. And his translator does not have that kind of money to front.
Yeah.
So like the bookie's obviously going like, well, yeah, you're the translator for Shohei Ohtani, who has a $600 million contract. So there's this he's probably betting on sports.
Yeah.
And got busted for it.
Oh, I don't even speak the language. Like, you can't even bother me. I'm like the Babe Ruth. Come on.
Yeah. Dude, he just rolled into that presser and was like this guy's literally his best friend. And like, I don't know, maybe he did go behind his back, but like, there's so many holes in this story of like, he did this without me knowing. It's like, yeah, this guy took $4 million out of you, or millions upon millions away from you without you noticing. Dude, my credit card gets used for 99 cents at a place it's not supposed to. I get a text on my phone. Right. You're telling me you didn't get a notification of a wire transfer for millions?
Well, he did, but it was in English, so he needed the guy to.
Yeah.
Right.
Guys, like, oh,
they should have went with that story. That would have been better.
Yeah.
Than whatever they came up with.
Yeah. So I'm very intrigued to see what baseball does here, because baseball, out of all the major sports, pretty like notably very bad at their own marketing and publicity right now. And they're just like, oh yeah, this like generationally the best player ever. By the way, probably getting busted for gambling on his own games.
Oh, the language barrier. I just don't know what you're saying.
Yeah. No, dude, what do you think Pete Rose? It's Pete Rose, right? What do you think he's thinking right now? banned from the Hall of Fame,
screaming at the TV, just like mother.
Yeah. Banned from the Hall of Fame for betting that they're gonna win always.
Yeah.
Banned from Hall of Fame for betting on games. Shohei shows up and is like, I don't speak English, and they're like, checks out. like what? Like all of his records and everything are ripped from history books because that came out. And Shohei, they're just like, bah.
But looking at me, so cute. He's just a little Asian dude. Come on.
And he pitches ham bats.
Oh, look at it! Look at his wife. She's like an anime character.
Dude, and that's what's crazy too is there's so much publicist stuff behind this because nobody ever knew he even had a girlfriend. And a few days before this story breaks, he's like, "Have you heard of my wife?" They're like, "What?"
Like,
oh my god.
Shohei Ohtani has a wife. He has a wife. Wait, didn't he gamble? Oh, who cares if he gambled?
He has a wife.
Look at it. He has a wife.
Child showing up in 8 months for sure to distract from this.
Yep.
Kid inbound. I don't. That is a crazy story when that came out, though. I'm very intrigued to see how this plays out.
That was wild. I'm like, what?
None of it makes
what?
Interpreter steals $4 million from, and you're like, oh wow, he stole money from him, and then it comes out stole this money to gamble, and you're like, oh boy,
not good.
Shohei Ohtani's interpreter has a gambling problem. Oh no.
Like if it was Mike Trout or something, I'd be like, oh yeah, he's an American. He gambles.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel like it should be fine as long as they're betting on their own team to win.
Yeah, I don't know. There's still a thing of you. I don't think you should be able to bet on your own sport, but yes, but
I'm just saying, like if
you're betting on yourself to win, I don't necessarily. Yeah, that one I could see, but like prop bets and stuff like. Well, and then did you see right after there was one in the NBA that came out where this guy is getting investigated. He's suspended from the league right now because he's getting investigated for unusual prop bet maneuvering with him. Did you see this story, Hahner?
No.
Basically, it's like this guy, like he's a role player, very small level, right? Well, all of a sudden, like there's been 2 instances, I believe it was this year, where all of a sudden, like a huge amount of money was placed on him for like not scoring any points or something in the first half or things like that. And you can like go back and watch him and be like, this motherfucker is throwing points.
Hell yeah, I'd be throwing points too.
For sure. Yeah. And they're if
I was like an 850 or like a 1.1 man, look at that bet. I put my entire bankroll on that I don't score a point.
And then you're like, watch me. Boys. I won't.
Yeah.
We're up in the big league.
And then after the game, the feds are like, and you're going to prison for 40 years. So that's going on now too. Yeah. I mean, we don't have to ramble about this side anymore, but with sports gambling getting so into sports, more and more of this shit's going to start showing up. And I'm very intrigued to see how they handle it because, I mean, Shohei Ohtani.
Well, that one's high
profile.
The most
innocent, I mean, the cutest big baseball player ever. The big Asian with his little Asian wife. Like, yeah, I mean, they're so adorable. They can't do anything wrong. They're anime characters.
Motherfuckers.
They're sitting there going, oh no. Yeah. Oh my god, that's good.
Yeah, it was a crazy story.
All right, let's jump into fantasy quick. Let's knock this out.
Yes,
so we got the Harris chain coming up. It's not this week, it's actually next week. But it'll be before our next podcast. So this is this the last this is just the last Florida tournament, right? Or is there one more?
No, there's 2.
2 more.
There's Harris Chain, and then there's a St. John's after.
Oh, St. John's, right. Okay. So this one should be at least interesting enough because there's going to be probably enough shallow stuff going on too that it's going to probably play a bit for multiple styles of fishing, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I will update the fantasy fishing side of things though in terms of points where we sit. So after 3 events, I'm going to give everyone an applause right now. Everybody has set their lineup for every event.
Incredible.
Very big forward. Big step forward. So
Yep.
this is much more competitive than it was last year. Now, in regards to punishment for losers, still being worked on. But
we just haven't landed on like the one, you know?
Yeah, we haven't landed on the idea yet, but we're all up for it. I feel like we
were hoping we would get more, you know.
Yeah, we didn't get much feedback from people. You know? We need commenter feedback because we're all in on this. But basically the only one that has been volunteered was, like I said, my one of you have to drive to like somewhere in Texas. Just drive there. And then you have to come back.
That is one.
I still think that's a potentially very good one because it just completely destroys a weekend for you.
It does. It's like high level of effort involved, actually.
High level of
just
effort.
Like, all right, let's just do this.
You have to drive 35 all the way down. I think that's a very good one. But we want to hear from others. We need to decide it by the end of April because that's when these points are going to start to spread out more and people are going to start backing out. So we need a punishment. Hahner, could you hear us for that?
Yeah, I could hear you.
Okay. Yeah. So we need to come up with that. But in regards to after 3 events where we're sitting after the Bassmaster Classic, I took 3rd at the Bassmaster Classic. So I have 7 points. Hahner took 1st at the Bassmaster Classic. So he has 7 points.
Yeah. Sam was shitting on me during that text message. I'm like, listen here, mother trucker. Look, I got the best team here.
You did.
I took all the homies.
You had a really good team.
That was a good team. That was an extensive amount of points. I needed those points.
You did.
Had
you
Raff
did very
and
good.
Shakurik. Thank you.
And then
pat myself on the back for that one.
Pinkalla took last at the Classic. He's got 9. Sobe took 2nd, and he's at 7. So for people wanting to know our scoring, there's obviously the Bassmaster Fantasy scoring. That's a whole deal. We're going to have a prize. We have a map from Hordog Maps that'll win for the winner of our group at the end of the year. I might close that group at the end of April just so that we don't have some random people who are doing really good hopping in to swipe shit away.
So if you want to get in now.
Yeah, because I'll probably close a group.
Yeah, right on. I like that.
But then in terms of for the podcast, the way we're recording this is golf scoring. So you get 1 point if you win, 2 points if you take second, etc. You want the lowest number of points, highest number of points at the end, has to do the punishment. So right now we got 3 of us at 7 and 1 at 9. So it's nice and close. Nothing really decided yet. This Florida stretch, like Hahner, kind of with the Elite Series, FLW Tour, anything that involves points, everybody always talks about just get out of Florida safe. And I feel like that's the way this Bassmaster Fantasy thing is going to go. In a month from now, we're going to be looking at where we sit and be like, oh, no. So I think it's going to be intriguing because now we're heading to Florida. They haven't gone to Florida in the summer before, or maybe in a long time. I don't remember one that's been there. Well, not the summer, but April, which down there is, we're almost post-spawn, I would imagine, if not well past post-spawn. And now we have the forward-facing sonar attribute. And most of the places in Florida, there's not water deeper than like 15 feet. So I don't know. This is going to be really interesting. So we're heading to the Harris chain. Pink, do you want to lead off, or Hahner, you want to lead off? Do you want to talk about how you think this might go? Have you heard about the Harris in April? Because I have no idea. I've heard this is the best time of year to fish down there, from what people say.
So from what people say, like the brim are getting on bed. So if you like to flip, I think a Popka is going to be a really big deal. If you know nothing about the Harris chain, so Apopka is like the farthest away run that you can possibly get to. Apopka
That's
is
the one
green,
dam,
nasty.
the dam with like 3 spots in it.
3 spots to get through. So there's gonna be a big line behind Apopka because just how it sets up, it's not as clear as the rest of them. I mean, the Bish turns green, like lime green. So the fish stay relatively shallow, but they'll like roam around in the hydrilla areas. But for the most part, like reed heads, I honestly feel a flipper could get this one done. And I've been looking at that's why I'm going away, because I'm looking at my choices, and I think a flipper could really get it done. I think a guy with some knowledge of where brim beds are set up, because those fish are going to be on brim beds if they're not spawning. And is there a full moon coming up here, Adam?
Yeah, it'll be April.
I think
it's 2 weeks after this. This is new moon.
Damn.
Roughly. Full moon will be the 21st.
My picks might be junk then.
Or the 23rd.
But I think there's so much grass out there. So like the Harris chain, especially for guys in the Midwest, I guess it could set up best for Midwest guys, and like guys from the North is usually where it suits people, is because of all the submerged grass that there is. I mean, there's so much grass from, depends on what they've killed. It could be 15-foot hydrilla beds down to 18 feet. It could be 10-foot hydrilla beds down to bottom. It's awesome for a northern angler. It fishes just like home for us. It's an amazing place for like a northern angler. If that's their first stop, it feels like home.
Yeah, I think this one is going to be interesting.
I think it's going to be really interesting.
I think there's going to be a ton of patterns that are going on.
I think this will be cool. I will say, I think Livescope's going to win this tournament. I don't know if it's going to be. I think it's going to be a perspective mode derby.
Mm-hmm.
Potentially, I don't know. I do think Livescope's going to win it. However, it's not going to be dominated. There's going to be a lot of patterns getting into the top, because the one thing I feel like we can speak on this from being in Minnesota. Yes, there's guys in Minnesota like Noah Schultz and Easton Fothergill and some other guys who are very talented with forward-facing sonar who have been winning a lot of tournaments. But there's a shitload of guys who aren't using it very much that are just flipping a jig, throwing a chatterbait, skipping docks, like punching. Like when you're in grass, there's a lot of options because it's way harder to actually use it. So I think you're gonna see a lot of different things going on. Like I said, I do still think it's gonna end up happening with live in some way, but I don't believe it's going to be the jig and minnow stuff you saw in Texas.
No, I don't think that either. I think potentially it's going to be a mix of, I really feel like it's going to be one in 4 ways: shell beds, outside grass lines, flipping, or sight fishing. That's about your options.
Yeah.
At this point.
I will say, as a dark horse, and I'm just telling you this as a friend, Pink, you should start tying some hair jigs, because I think this tournament could get won with a big fluff ball.
Oh yeah, I've caught fish on Harris chain with a hair jig.
And there's a lot of guys who throw it more now. And with the way the grass sets up and the time of year, like This is a very good time of year to
if this
throw
tournament
a big hair
gets caught up. If this tournament gets won on a big hair jig, we will run a goddamn special for Past the Barb fans.
I weighed a 4.5 pounder on a hair jig out there.
Well, and that'll kind of lean to. We'll get into our picks here.
Yeah.
I'll lead it off, but that topic will lead to a man I picked. Bucket A. I am going with my team's very different here. I've been very young and very Livescope. Now I'm starting to go more to guys who have experience, side imaging, and grass fishermen. First one, Bucket A, I'm going Jordan Lee. If you remember, Jordan Lee won an event here this time of year on a big-ass hair jig.
He's heating up, too. He's had
a great start to the Elite Series season. He's a phenomenal fisherman. He's the prototypical of he knows when to use forward-facing sonar and how to use it to his advantage, and he knows when to just go fishing. And he's from Gunnersville, grass fisherman. I think he's going to do really good there. Then I'll roll through them all quick.
Yeah. Yep.
B, I'm going with Polnick. Polnick's really good, tried and true. Tends to do well. He tends to suck in Florida, but I think that's the early season Florida. I think this time of year in Florida, he'll be much better. C, if there's grass, you got to pick Brian Schmidt. So I'm going with Brian Schmidt.
Yeah, solid pick.
D, John Cox. You can't go to the Harris chain and not pick John Cox. And then E, I'm actually surprised he's in this bucket. I guess I didn't realize he started the year this rough. Matt Robertson, because I think a big bait will play, and I think he'll do well.
Nice.
That's
solid.
Those are solid picks.
No one really young that's forward-facing on that, which kind of scares me. But at the same time, I think this tournament's going to be a little bit different.
I am with you on that one. I'm taking some big risks with this tournament. So, sorry, Pink. I'm just going to go ahead.
Okay. Yep.
So, Bucket A. I had a hard time picking this one because I know I've talked like this sort of fishing fits, and I told you all I am not picking against Jay Shakurik the rest of the season. I'm picking against him. I am putting Chris Johnston.
I think that's a great pick
as Group A. Just because I know how he fishes. He can fish outside grass lines. He can flip. He can sight fish. This is very much in his wheelhouse. Grass fishing is in his wheelhouse. And it was either one of the two Johnstons, and I picked Chris.
I think they've both done very well on the Harris chain from FLW events.
Yep.
They have a lot of experience there.
Yep. Chris won the tournament that I fished, and they both did really well. Then Bucket B, here's where I kind of go all in on two anglers. So Bucket B, I got Drew Benton, because I've seen what those canals can come up with, and it is a quick 30 pounds if you're a sight fisherman. I mean, it is night and day. All of a sudden, there's a 10-pounder there, a 10-pounder there, a 10-pounder here. And if someone can figure that out, it's going to be a Drew Benton, followed by Group C, a Drew Cook. They work together. If those two can get something going as far as sight fishing and working those canals, because they share a lot of information together, if they get something going, especially on the backside of Griffin, where there is a ton of water. Like, if you know nothing about the Harris chain, so there's Griff, Harris, Eustis, Beauclair, and it goes on. It's a huge chain, but Griffin is like a huge giant main lake, and there's grass covering basically the entire north end. But to the east of it, there's almost swampland, which is a huge spawning bed. Gigantic, which is trolling motor only. So you have to like commit yourself to finding the fish in those areas because it is so much water. I mean, there's 4 miles of water back there. And I feel like a guy who is committed to looking for fish as their main principle, if those two guys, when they work together, if they could figure something out, it would be this tournament. And if they get something going, they'll go hand in hand. And I think both of those will be solid on my team. If they don't,
uh-oh.
Oh no.
You swapped screens.
Sorry. Oh, sorry. Group D, John Cox. John Cox, obviously. I remember the one tournament I fished on Harris Chain. I was sick as a dog, had the flu, 103 fever, just barely making out to practice as a rookie. And John's like, I'm going to fill up my boat at like 10 a.m. and it's like day 2 practice. And I see him in his PJs. He's like yawning. Like, it's like, you catching anything? I'm like, no, man, I really haven't been feeling well. He's like, yeah, I'm not much of a morning person. It's like 10 a.m.
Fuck, I love this guy.
He's just, fuck it. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. I think he took a top 5 in that event.
Yeah.
All right. So obviously I'm picking him. That's his home body of water. And then Bucket E. So Bucket E, I'm going with the odds. Gerald Swindle is going to have a top 20 finish in this event. Some way, somehow.
Feel like this will be a good junk fishing event.
I
He's
totally
a
agree.
Fisherman.
I totally agree. That's where I'm at. That's where my mind's at on this one. I think that's a solid Bucket E pick, and I think he's going to have a top 25, top 20 finish in this one.
I like it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Pink, where are you at?
All right. Mine, I think, is a little less technical because I just went with some of the people that have fucking burnt me the most. So I don't know, man. Like, at least for this season so far, I didn't start off very good, which like previously, last year I did really good, but even like previously when I've done this, I feel like I've started off a little hotter, but I'm just going with some of my gut picks on this one. But the first one, Cody, I know you'll like this because you obviously switched this. I'm just sick of betting against the kid. So Jay Shakur is on my team because when you said you weren't picking him, I was like, son of a bitch, here we go. But I'm taking him. Sick of watching him do well and me not picking him. So he's on my team now. But I went Brandon Polnick. I think he's going to do well here. My C was probably my most difficult one. I was kind of going back and forth a little bit here because I did want to take some guys from up here, but I ended up settling on. I'm good. I'm going with Kyle Welcher for this one.
It's a solid pick.
D, obviously, I picked John Cox. And then my E bucket, I kind of did. I just picked him because I just think I don't think he's going to win, but I think he's going to finish good enough to get me some points here. So I picked Will Davis Jr. for that one.
Will Davis, a good fisherman.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel good about Brandon Polnick, Kyle Welcher, and John Cox. I feel really good about those. So we'll see what Jay does, but I can't not like.
Boy knows how to catch him in Florida.
Or just I'm just like, I don't know, dude. Like every time I think he's not going to do well, and then he does, and I'm just like, fuck it.
Yeah.
He's got some stuff figured out, so that's where I'm going with.
No, it's good. Did you guys get to watch? I mean, we didn't get a dive into it. Did you guys watch a classic at all?
Yeah,
I did actually. For like, it's been a couple of years since I actually was able to watch like a lot of it. like I normally watch like some live coverage or whatever, but I actually did watch almost the whole thing this year, which was super fun. Still, I'm going to say this now. We don't have to get into it, but the gripe is the same, is that the live coverage of this event is not getting substantially better.
I thought it was one of the better covered classics.
I don't know,
kind
man.
of with you, Pink. Kind of
I
with
don't
you
know.
on that one.
It's just, I don't know. There's room to improve.
Yeah, but still fun to watch nonetheless. I just, like you want to see it keep getting so much better, and like I honestly,
it seems like the same thing over and over and over again.
Well, and especially like the streaming of it, like for someone watching it, like on the Bassmaster site, because like that's pretty much how you got to watch it. But like even like the weigh-in was just like not dialed.
The weigh-in's always so long at the classic. It's so long.
Well, not just long, but just like not dialed, man. Like even just like watching as like a fan, it's like you want it to be hyped. Like for like the first 45 minutes of the whole thing, you could barely tell there was even any fans there.
Yeah, and it's
you know what I mean?
Because it was packed.
I know, but like you wouldn't even know that watching it. So I don't know, but pretty cool. I mean, yeah, I thought it was sweet. Some of the live like fish catching was pretty dope. Like there was some really good stuff happening there.
The only thing, like I would say, like Hahner, you've been to Grand. Every now that I've been there twice, and I have fished more days on Grand than I have caught keeper bass in all my time I've been there. That place is very hard.
It is.
And I watched Adam Rasmussen, Jay Shakirat, Brandon Card, Lee Livesey fish everything that I fish every time I'm there, and I catch nothing.
Nothing.
And there's not even fish there. And they're like those brush piles, they're like, Rasmussen is on these brush piles in Horse Creek. I'm like, I got a waypoint on every fucking one of those. I've thrown into those 40 times in my life. Ain't a bass never come out of one.
No. Nope. Like I've watched.
For people who haven't been there, it's infuriating. Watching it live and then going there and being like, I can do this. I know you know what I mean, Hahner.
I know exactly what you mean. Because I watched Hank Cherry like flip the exact same cast that I made and like pulling 3.5 pounders out. Like no.
He's like, and the best part is he's like, it's this little brown jig, and you're like, I threw that.
You're like, no, I threw the Christie spinnerbait, I threw the brown jig, I threw the brown craw KVD 1.5. Not a chance. It ain't happening. That's the weird thing about Grand in those coves is like, sure, there's fish that mill out in the middle that like Taco E2 found and stuff, but like when one gets on the bank, as soon as it's plucked, you got like 12 hours before another one actually gets up there.
Yeah.
So if you're not the first one in there, you are fucked. You are bugged. And you know that, like, I remember I had this like funny conversation in the middle of a tournament. This is how I got to meet AJ Slagona from New York. He's in the middle of the creek, and we're both like looking through our boats, like for a bait. He's like, "Hey," I'm like, "Yeah." It's like, "Do you have any double willow spinner baits?" I'm like, I'm gonna be honest, like, my spinnerbait supply is really low. The only thing I got is really rusty. He's like, rustier than this? And I'm like, not that bad. and he's like, could I get one from you? He's like, yeah, I tried it. It didn't work, but here you go. And he's like, dude, this place fucking blows. And it was the first time in my tournament career I actually sat in the middle of a tournament for about 7 to 10 minutes, and we just had a conversation. It's like like, do you know where you're going? He's like, no, I have no idea what I'm doing. I am casting at rocks. That's all.
And everything's identical.
Casting at rocks.
Dude, whenever people
I'm hoping to God a fish bites.
My favorite is the analytics on. They're like, yeah, they're fishing these banks or whatever with this type of rock, and you're like, they all look the exact same.
Ew. No, they don't. They are the exact same. The entire run of the creek is the exact same. And like, I remember when Jason Christie's like, you see how that pipe's covered over just a little bit? Fuck you with that pipe covered. They're every dock.
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
Yeah.
No.
And also and like, I give guys props who are good at like fishing the docks there with the cables, because everyone's like, oh, you can go fish the docks. Do you know how hard it is to fish the docks on that lake? Those cables are everywhere.
Everywhere.
And the docks are all really narrow. So I don't like the whole like pulling in and like getting back there. So you finally get back there and you like throw your jig under. And then you're like, oh, cool, I didn't get bit. And you like go to reel it in and it just gets stuck on a cable.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, cool.
Or you actually catch one back there and you're like raking it over the cable and you have to re-spool after that one fish.
Yeah.
You have to re-spool because the whole thing is shredded.
It did, and it looked like it took so much time to go around, like to pull in between, make a couple casts, fish, because it's not like they were out under the end. You know what I mean? They're like up by the bank, like up towards the walkway portion.
It is absolutely exhausting fishing that lake, dude. Like, exhausting fishing that place. Then the only other thing I'll say about that place that like everybody got to see, and now I just hope they understand, when everybody goes back to Wolf Creek at the end of the day, and you hear these stories at the weigh-in every single day of people like, yeah, I just pulled back and pulled up to this random dock in Wolf Creek and caught 2 3-pounders to get me over the edge. I've done that. I never had it happen to me. One time when I think it was the second time I was there when I blanked the first day, I went, I'm just not going to leave Wolf Creek. I'm just going to fish in here because everyone talks about all the fish they catch at the end of the day here. So I go to fish Wolf Creek all day. Never got one bite. Not one bite. Not all day. Didn't even get a bite. Didn't even set the hook once. And like, it's just, that place is maddening.
Yeah. Well, and like, dude, there was a couple things on live. Like, so I was watching and I picked a shit team at the Classic, first of all, for fantasy. But the first thing that so when I was like, all right, I'm going to watch some live, and turned it on. So my God, I hope he does good pick was Kioya in that tournament. And when I turned on live, it's Mark Zona sitting there watching him fish and just relishing the fact that he is not catching them. And I was like, fuck, this is not going to go well for me. Because he was like in the middle of a creek throwing a jerk bait around, or a spinner bait or something, and like not scoping at all. And they were literally for like 20 minutes on live. They were sitting there watching him just like laughing.
Yeah.
That he was
I thought the best part then at the end was him being like, he ended up finishing out fairly good after it all was said and done. But it was funny on stage. He said he was like, I went power fishing. I threw a spinner bait.
Yeah,
and
he made the
hilarious because he very openly stated every bait he was using because they're so Grand Lake prototypical. You never hear a Japanese guy say what bait he's throwing. And he's like, yes, double Colorado blade spinner bait from, and you're like, oh my God.
Because he doesn't even, he like never even shows the camera like what he's using.
And and he would catch one, he'd be like, spinner bait.
Yeah, like the line is like wrapping around the lens on the camera. He's like showing it so close.
Yeah. It was so funny. It was awesome. Yeah. I loved it.
Yeah. But then so I got a kick out of, I don't know if you saw that little piece that got posted of Milliken after, because like obviously he didn't make the cut or whatever. I think Hella Bass posted it on Facebook or whatever. I don't know if you saw that little clip.
Oh yeah.
Where he was like, you could tell like he was chill, but he was like salty also.
Yeah.
And he had that line in there where he was like, "Oh, I just tried to do, my thing basically." And then he's like, "I guess I should have just randomly fished down the bank," kind of thing, like made it seem like everyone else was just randomly fucking about, like, and they made, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it was a good plug though for all the people who are like, "Oh, they're just randomly fishing in the middle of the lake when they're live scoping." Like, I thought it was a good play. I thought it was funny.
That's what I took from it, was like that was him taking a shot at all those people too.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I thought that was like right when I thought, but anyway, but yeah, no, good classic, I think overall.
Yeah,
I mean, definitely like more of a, I don't know, like more competitive one than I was expecting.
I thought it was good. I think the biggest thing from this classic I liked is it was really cool seeing the last guys who've won it. Like Gussie has an established career, and like I was super pumped for Gussie because he's a friend. And like Christie wins and all these guys win. It's been a long time since we've had a guy who wins who like tugs on the heartstrings of like he is flat out broke.
Yeah.
And like this literally changes his life. And like seeing that like emotion and everything was really, really cool. Like,
yeah. No, I mean,
it impacts a ton. Like that's sweet to see.
Well, especially since he like led the whole event, like it was like he had something going, like it was cool.
Yeah. No, it was sweet. All right, what we got next?
Let's get into let's do this. So we'll burn through these quick because I don't want to go too down the rabbit hole because I know none of us really know shit about this. But so we've been getting some DMs on social media from fans that either are sending us articles or just messages, suggestions, things like that. And we pulled a couple from there that we just wanted to talk about a little bit. And
people keep sending us that stuff too. It's awesome getting fan interaction from everybody.
Yeah, and we read all of it. So if you send us something, we'll definitely check it out. But we'll just talk about two things here quick. So one of them is definitely a Minnesota thing. Like Hahner, you probably haven't even heard of this, but we'll bring you in because I think you'll enjoy this topic. But so there is some controversialness happening around Upper Red Lake, which Hahner, you're familiar with that place, right? Okay.
Yes.
So the gist of that place is there's like Upper and Lower Red Lake. Lower Red Lake is essentially fully within, like tribal land or whatever. I don't know what the correct terminology for that is, but and then Upper Red Lake, a bunch of it is, but like the northeast portion of the lake is essentially like still has public access, and there's a bunch of private landowners and stuff. And so this is like fairly recent development stuff. I mean, obviously this has been ongoing for a long time, but like this whole where it's a big deal is more recent, that the like tribal people, I mean, I don't know if they have like a council or however it works, but like the tribe is, coming to the state and federal government now saying that they have some documentation that all of this land like surrounding Upper Red Lake is actually theirs. And now they're like pursuing this legal action where they are going to own everything within a mile of Upper Red Lake. And like, there's going to be no public access to this lake now and all this stuff. And they're going through this like process of getting this all figured out. Cause I guess there's a map from like the 18 somethings where they drew some sort of boundary and it's different than what they have now. And they're like, well, they meant to draw the line over here and we think you should give us all this land. It sounds like a total mess. And I don't know anything about this at all, but I read like one article about it, and it's like, I guess in our like state legislature now, and like the federal government owns a bunch of land up there, something that they're trying to get back to. And I don't know, man.
Yeah, I have read the articles about it, and I don't fully understand it. I feel like maybe most of us are in that place.
It sounds like it almost sounds like there's like what has been written about like where these boundaries are, and then there's like a map that's like, is just like a hand-drawn map. I don't really understand like where this is, but they're saying like the line is in the wrong spot or like something that has given like, I don't know, public access to Red Lake, and they don't think that's where it's supposed to be. I don't know. But what I got out of it was that if this goes through and like they grant all this stuff, that there would basically be like no public access to Red Lake for like ever, I think, right? Like I would just like end that. And then they would like control everything within a mile. Like there was like a mile strip around the lake or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, basically, I guess obviously my thoughts on it are is I hope that's not the case, because there's a lot of business owners, revenue. I mean, just outdoor market that goes up there and utilizes Red Lake and everything. But also I don't technically know what like legally it is. You know what I mean? Like that's a thing of like, and it's dealing with Native American lands. So it's like I'm not
your guy for that. Yeah.
And like I know they're having a bunch of meetings up there, and it's a big deal in the community, and it should be a big deal in the state. Everybody should be paying attention to it. I mean, from anything we could do, I don't really think there's anything there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think like I'm signing this treaty or anything. Like I don't know.
Happening. Like I can't really change land legally.
Be aware of it.
Yeah,
like
maybe this is happening. I feel like there's a lot of information that'll come out more about it. This is very early on in the stages of the meeting happening.
I don't know. I mean, it's like ongoing, but like Hahner, you know how like a lot of this stuff goes down in northern Wisconsin too, with like lands and who owns what and access and stuff. I think it's similar.
Yeah, I mean it definitely is similar. I can't see nowadays like that going through, honestly, unless like the governor grants it for some reason. Like is your governor like Republican or is he a Democrat?
No, we're a very Democratic state, so that's actually something that I feel like could legitimately potentially happen if it goes down the wrong hole.
There's just like so much
certain avenue.
Like,
not
is there a huge amount of is casino money like a big thing in your state?
Well, yeah, I mean Mystic, but this place, there's nothing there. Like there's no casino Red Lake.
Well, it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter if there's nothing there. It's still like a tribal community. Like they'll like technically all of it they want to be their land around their reservation, but what controls the tribe is like the one thing is their casino. So
yeah,
well, there's obviously like something like sparking them wanting to be like more aggressive about this right now. So I don't know what that.
Yeah, it's probably, I don't know. Someone probably had a hair up their butt about like, man, if we could net some more fish out of this lake, this gigantic lake, and sell these fish, this is the margin. But I don't know. I have no idea.
Like I said, I'm not super informed on this topic per se.
So. No, and I will become more informed as more comes out. But right now, it's just like that's what's out there. It's a paper map.
It's definitely possible
this is what they're looking for to do. There's no further documentation of like what that process is or how it would work or whatever's even going on.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, would like for it to stay the same for the ice fishing industry and everything. And I would think that if the government is involved in that, like that's also a very big tourism market and everything. So I don't know. You're just speaking on hypotheticals at that point in time of what would happen. I just have no idea. just people being aware of this could potentially happen.
But it's possible that Upper Red Lake could have no public access anymore. It's possible.
Yeah. And we will talk about it, I feel like, more as more details come out and we can actually form an opinion on it. I just generally don't have one when I just don't know all the details because there's not a lot.
Yeah. So anyway, there you go.
Yeah.
But okay. And the other one that I got here. So this was a video that was sent in, and so since this was like maybe 2 weeks ago, we got this, but there has been several more that have come out on YouTube. I'm sure there's more by now too, of these, of using Livescope and connecting it to these like augmented reality glasses that allow you to see the Livescope like overlay on glasses while you're fishing, which I'm gonna be honest, I watched some of these videos. I think I watched like 2 of them. I watched the one that John B did, and then the one that Jay Siemens put out. I'm gonna be honest, it's kind of ridiculous, but it's also kind of badass a little bit. Like, I think it would be super fun to play with. I don't know.
Like I would get dizzy.
Maybe. I don't think like I guess I could see like how it would be like cool. I think what I got out of it is like they were doing it just because you can.
Yes.
Not because it's like this is a really good thing.
Yeah, well,
like
Ed, I believe Ed Lochran did it for the Elite Series.
Okay. Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yep. And people were like, "Oh, this is where it's going to go," and it's like cheating to a level, but it's like Ed Lochran did terrible in the first few events, so it's like it gives you no more advantage. It's just
I mean, it's not giving you anything different. It's just showing you the screen in a different place.
Yes.
You know, like
and I feel like it would be weird to have it. Yeah, I don't like. I want to. Yeah, I don't.
It was interesting to like watch. Like, I think Jay did a super good job of like showing it. At least that was the one video that I thought was cool. But yeah, it's interesting that like that technology can even like work together. To be honest, like I don't think that's obviously not what it was intended for, but like it works.
Yeah. No, I saw those and I was like, that is interesting.
But it does make you think like maybe like that'll be a route that like companies are taking, like to maybe like branch off of that or like develop more like for that specific purpose, you know?
Yeah, I remember one time I was talking to a bigwig at Hummingbird. He was at a college series event or something, and he was talking about the ideas that they've gone through. And he's like, yeah, one of the ideas that was turned down was making your entire deck of the boat one giant screen. Like, we were in the works of that for a long time.
Yeah.
And it got turned down. Like a foot pedal, like moving your screen with your foot instead of having one giant platform as your display rather than just one screen. But it got turned down. Like, so there's been like all this technology is just old. I mean, like World War II,
rehashing the same
Vietnam,
ideas. Yeah.
Like old military technology.
Right.
Like, so can you imagine what's coming up next?
Right.
What, like a depth bomb that shows you every living creature in the lake? Oh, there it is.
I probably could. Honestly, like the glasses thing is intriguing though, but it's like, I mean, I get it's just showing you the live thing, but like, wouldn't it be cool? Like, I almost think it would be better, like I want to see the lake mapping in the glasses. Like versus
3D.
Well, yeah, like if you could just like look around and like spatially like see the like contour map, that'd be kind of badass.
Yeah, that would be cool.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, and like I said, there's a bunch of videos out there. Like, I'm not saying there's a specific one that's best or whatever, but they definitely get you thinking a little bit. I don't know that I would ever play around with it much, but it does seem like kind of cool. For sure. Like, because I don't know I've never even looked into like getting these glasses or what. I'm sure they're like crazy expensive, but
I haven't looked into it. I'm just trying to figure out how to use my live in a boat to really benefit me. I
like
feel
just with the regular screen.
Yeah, it's just weird because I feel like I'm so far behind on it open water and ice fishing wise. I feel like I'm probably on the leading edge of it. So then you get to open water and you're like, why is this so hard? Like if I drill a hole, like I go do this ice fishing, it's so much easier. I have a trolling motor now. I can just cast to them. I don't, you know what I mean? It's just, it's so much more difficult in a boat. So like adding another thing just is hard to imagine because I feel like it'll just make it more difficult.
Yeah, I'm sure it's something you got to get used to, but like you definitely would probably fall out of the boat like pretty quick otherwise.
Yes. I already get what is it, vertigo every once in a while, like looking down, I look up, look back down, I'm like, shit, here we go.
And you're like, whoa, I'm actually still outside. Oh my god. Okay. All right. So I guess we got to weigh in. I did want to bring up, because I didn't bring it up last time. I did want to talk about this trip I went on a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll do that and then we'll do the weigh in. But so, like I was saying before, haven't been doing a lot of fishing, but I did just go on a trip to Costa Rica, which is, I haven't done an international trip in a while to go like fish. So it was fun to like get back. I feel like I used to do that kind of stuff like a ton more, and it's been like a little break of that. So it felt good to just like jump into another one and go do something kind of like new.
Yeah.
You know,
Forgive me being slightly stupid, but where is Costa Rica in Central America again? Like how far down are you?
So it is the country in between Nicaragua and Panama.
Okay, so you're way down there. I got you.
Yeah, it's very south in Central America.
Yeah. Almost almost to South America. Yeah, got it.
Yes.
Okay. That's where I was like, I don't remember exactly where that is.
Yes.
I could have Googled it, but I figured there's people listening who are thinking the same thing. So I got you.
Yeah. So went there, and it was cool. Like I hadn't been to Costa Rica before, and flew in there to Liberia, and then drove. So that's like kind of in the middle, and then drove out to the coast. And so like if you fly, like even in Mexico or like anywhere you go where you end up like having to drive, like after you get to an airport and then like drive a substantial distance, like you typically like probably not just like renting a car, like you're getting like a shuttle or whatever. And because you're driving through all the like these little like shanty towns and stuff to get out to where you're going. And so that's what we did. We got like, some dude picks us up in a van at like the airport and drives us out to the like beach town that we're staying at. And so it's like winter there too. So there's like, like no leaves on any of the trees or anything. But there's like everything in that area is like fairly like jungly, when it's all like leafed out and stuff in like the summer. But it's been so hot there. They're having like just insane like heat streak while we're there.
Oh, really?
They're like, this is like, we don't see these kind of temps normally or whatever. And so it was basically like 100 every day, which I guess is like not typical for like this time of year there. So yeah, it was wicked hot. But it's absolutely beautiful there. Like even in the wintertime, I was like, this place is badass. Like we're just driving around and it's like all these like low mountains and stuff, driving all the way out to the coast. And then we get out there and this town, it's Playa del Coco is the town that we stayed in. And it's like this sick beach town right on like Cocoa Beach is the name of that there. And there's like up in the hills above it, there's like a bunch of like mansions and stuff. And I think there's some like whatever. I mean, high roller, like celebrity people that own property around there. But the beach town itself is like super, just like straight up local, small, what you'd expect in Costa Rica kind of stuff. And so we did we did some fishing for sure. We actually got a boat for a couple days. We linked up with like a local dude who had a panga down there. So we ended up getting out with him for 2 days on the boat. And then we did some like shore fishing the other days we were there. And like so if you like, you can imagine fishing with somebody that like maybe your fishing style is not the same. You jump in the boat and you're trying to like feel each other out kind of thing. But then like add the element of like, you don't speak the same language now.
The language barrier.
So they speak, at least the guy we were fishing with spoke basically zero English. And like, so we're like, fuck, this is going to be like a struggle for sure. So we were like going to fish with the same guy for 2 days. So we're like, all right, the first day we'll just kind of like feel it out. We'll see like what his, what he wants to do. And then, because we brought some of our own gear too. So like experience has been that a lot of times, especially when you fish with like these local like Ponga captains, is that they don't typically have the best fishing equipment. But they'll have like some stuff that's like decent. But it's always beneficial to at least bring a few of your own rods if you're going on a trip like that. Which was great because we get in this.
Have travel rods? Are they easy to fly with and shit? Then
they can be.
Okay.
So yeah, we just have some travel rods that we took down there, and like a lot of like 3 and 4 piece rods. Like if you were going like somewhere where you knew what the situation was with the rods, like bringing like 1 or 2 piece rods in like a big like rod case can work. We were trying to like pack our stuff like smaller, so we were bringing some more collapsible ones, but we've had some bad experiences in places like parts of Mexico where like no issue going there, but they don't want you to leave with them. So we're like, you kind of go through this thing, right, where you can't like if you were putting it in like your check bag, it's good. But if you try to carry it on, even though it's a collapsible rod or whatever, they'll take it. So we're like, we didn't want to deal with any of that. We were like, weren't sure what the deal was in Costa Rica. So we're like, let's just bring like travel rods we can pack down and like throw them in a check thing and not have to bring like a rod tube and everything. So yeah, and we have like we've gotten some good gear that's like these, like travel saltwater setups that are actually really nice. So we took down some like lighter gear and then like a couple of like surf rods, like 9-foot spinning rods, and then a couple boat rods with like some better reels. Because that's the other thing is like a lot of times you get on these boats, their rods are like okay, but the reels are either shit or the line is terrible. So it's like just you got to bring stuff always. Okay. But so we go out and right away. So the dude wanted to troll. So we're like, okay, cool, we'll do that. But it was like obvious right away that like it was not like a prime time of the year to like troll in this area, because like a lot of the boats, so the sport fish boats are like bigger, 30 to I'll say like 50-foot sport fish boats, like center consoles. They were running like pretty far offshore, and I think they were going out to where there was like a lot more tuna and mahi and stuff, and that's what they were catching. We were focusing more on like shore, like fishing around like rocks and that type of thing. So this guy wanted to like do some trolling and do some bottom fishing, so we messed with that the first day, and like the trolling was not happening. There was a lot of small blackfin tuna around, but they were like chasing, like it was crazy. They were chasing these like 1 or 2 inch bait, like minnows right around the surface. These were like little clear minnows. And so we're trolling like some fairly big plugs with this guy. And so the whole time we're trolling, I'm just like standing up on the bow, just figuring if anything is like on the surface close by, we'll like throw at it. Well, we're messing around where I get a couple shots on these small schools of like blackfin tuna, and they're like busting on the surface, but they're small. They're like 4 or 5 pounders, and we're not getting them to even like swipe at a bait. So we start just like trying other stuff, and like the trolling's like not happening. We realize that, but this guy still really wants to troll. So we're just like, screw it. We'll just stand on the bow and like cast at these fish, because we're like literally driving through schools of these fish. And so I was there with my dad, and he's got like a really light, like a walleye rod, like a 7.5-foot like travel rod that's like literally a walleye rod. And he ties on, like, we're just looking at the bait that these tuna are busting, and they're like that big. And he just puts on like a 1/4-ounce ball head jig and like a clear grub that has like glitter in there. And the first school we pull up to, he fires it in there. It hits the water and just gets nuked, and it rips off like 50 feet of drag in about 1 second on like a 2,500 size spinning reel, just burning. And it ends up popping off, right? But the guy is like looking at it like, what the fuck just happened right there, because they're like, they don't have any light tack. Like everything they have is like 50-pound test mono and like all this stuff, right? And he just hooked this tuna on like 10-pound braid with like a 6-pound leader, and whatever. So we ended up messing with that for a little bit, but like it kind of got later in the morning, and a lot of the like surface busting kind of calm down. So we ended up doing some bottom fishing, which was super lame. Like, I think like some of these dudes, you know, normally they take people out that really don't care what like they're catching or whatever. And like we pull up on a couple spots and it was like, you know, we're catching all these snapper, like, you know, 6-inch snapper or whatever. It's like, I got no time for this. Like, and so we're talking to the dude and we're trying to like tell him like, hey, like, forget this, you know? And so we start going and I'm standing on the front with like a surf rod and I was throwing like a big popper, like a 6-inch big like saltwater popper right to the bait. Like there's waves like crashing and all these cliffs and stuff. It looked like such a badass spot. And we're working down that. And like maybe 10 casts in, I just get absolutely exploded. And I set the hook on it and it was just ripping, dragging. It popped off and I reeled in and fired right back in there and hooked up again. And ended up boating like a pretty nice jack crevalle, which was really cool. It was like, okay, sweet. You know, we got something going. And so we keep doing the same thing. And we're just like working on these cliffs, throwing these big poppers and like surface irons and stuff. And we start catching these big jacks. And the dude running the boat is like having like, he's excited, you know, like we're doing something totally like he doesn't normally do, obviously, because he didn't even have any of the gear for this. And like now we're just thinking like, oh, we just need to like burn shoreline. Like if we cover enough of these, you hit like one good rock pile and there's some fish around it, you know? And we're just like going down and going down. And it was just like so frustrating because now you know what you want to do and you're just like doing it. And as soon as you get a bite, like whether you hooked it or not, the dude's like turning the boat around like we're going back. And we're like, no, like go that way, dude. Like just keep going. So you're like having these conversations. And it's funny, like I don't know why people do this, but like you just do it where like you're trying to explain something like normal, like you're just talking like in the voice you would say. And then once like the other person doesn't speak like English or whatever, you start like talking in some weird ass voice that's like not English anymore, but it's
nothing
definitely
you've ever done.
No, you're like, and you're like trying to explain something in this other voice. You're like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, this doesn't even make any sense to anyone. And like, so yeah. So anyway, we're messing with that, and so we end up catching a few more of these jacks. And whatever. And then so whatever. First day, that was kind of like how it played out. And then we're running back, which the whole place is like gorgeous, right? So you like kind of are like fishing your way further away from where you started. And then you kind of have this long like run back because like these boats don't go that fast. I mean, they're like, I don't know, maybe like 25-foot pongas, but they have like, you know, like a 50 horse on them or something. So you're just kind of, you know, cruising around. So we're on our way back to the beach. The guy's like he pulls out this knife and he's like cutting up pineapples and shit on the back deck. So we're just like mowing those down, which was cool. And but it was like, yeah, it was super hot. I was like I said, 100 degrees pretty much every day. And so we run back to the beach, pull up there, and it was all good. And clean the fish and everything. We kind of pull up in this spot, clean some fish, and then we went back and hung out at the pool at the condo thing we were staying at and went and chilled on the beach. Like there was all kinds of stuff going on. And we started fishing on the beach a little bit and we were catching some stuff. There was a lot of ladyfish around and we had some like light tackle we brought. We were catching some pompano like in the rocks, like right by the shore when the tide was out. But like beach fishing's crazy because you kind of never know when something like big is going to show up. So like you could be just like fishing around and, you know, every time you'd see some bait blow up, you'd fire in there and catch a ladyfish or something. But we never saw anything too big. And we actually went and did some snorkeling, like just off the beach there to see if we could like see anything. And there were some jacks around, but nothing big. And I guess it's not like a real sharky area. So there wasn't like any like land-based shark fishing going down. So we just didn't even mess with it. But yeah, tons of good food and bars down there. And we hit some of that stuff up. And
what was up with this drink special I got a Snapchat of?
Oh, so yeah, so we go to this place and I've never seen this on the menu before, but they had it was a 16 shots, I think. Like this is on the menu. Like you could just order. It was called like 16 shot roulette, and it was just 16, I guess, random shots they just bring you.
They just got to clear out. They got to clear out a couple rows that are like, you know, they got a quarter left of certain things. They're like, we'll do this.
Well, right, but I mean, but like to actually have it on there, like people that come in and be like, yeah, you still got that 16 shot thing? I'll do that. Yeah, bring me that. But no, there was some good food down there, and it was cool because like, you know, the whole beachfront is all like bars and stuff that are like right facing the water. And like at night, they got it all lit up down there. So it's just people like hanging out, walking on the beach and chilling. And yeah, I mean, like it was definitely like less of, I mean, it is like a touristy place, but less of like a resort town, right? Like there's a lot more locals hanging out and doing stuff. Like there's like a skate park like on the beach, which was kind of dope. Like they had that going every night. And there was one kind of interest. So like there is like I don't know, I guess commercial fishing, but it's like local commercial fishing, right? So they run like really small boats and whatever. So the one night we're just chilling we're just walking on the beach, smoking some cigars we got at, this shop or whatever. And there's this group of dudes so sitting on the sand or whatever they got a couple kayaks there. So like all the people that have boats down there's pretty much just like kayaks laying on the beach all over the place, like in the trees, because that's like how people get out to their boats that they have like tied up out, like moored out in this bay. So like people just like leave their kayak there, they come out, they paddle out to their boat, whatever. So there's this group of guys just shooting the shit, sitting there, some local dudes. And then there's like out in the ocean, like coming in, there's just like a boat out there with just like a flashlight, like not like lighting on the boat, just like literally like a flashlight. And it's like coming closer to shore. And the dude just like gets up and like grabs his kayak and just starts like paddling out like into the dark. And he like puts on his little headlamp. He's like paddling out there. So these dudes, and they did this like every night. This was like, they went out and they'd run like long lines at night in this tiny little boat, but they just had like no lights or nothing. So like the guy that was like, he was going to work, like he was just chilling, like waiting for the boat to come pick him up. And then like he sees this light come into the thing and he just like paddles his kayak out there and like gets in the boat with them. And they just like go out into the ocean and like leave these long lines out all night. Cause that boat would like in the morning when the sun was coming up, they'd be like coming back into the bay and like cleaning all their fish. But like they were literally just like kayaking out into the middle of the abyss every night.
Not great.
No, and so they just like fish all night with like no light, really.
Jeez.
Pretty much, and then come back in and clean all these fish, and then they sell them to like restaurants or whatever. I was like, Jesus, dude, that's a tough way to make a living, dude. But it was, like this dude, like he's just chilling with his buddies, and then like this little light comes in, and he's like, okay, bye, and like grabs his kayak and goes, and his buddies like leave.
It's awesome.
But yeah, the second day of fishing was badass though, that we were on the boat, because the morning was slow. Like the dude had caught some ladyfish, and then we took them out and we like bridled them and we're slow trolling them like around these cliffs, because they're in Costa Rica is known for like big rooster fish is like one of the like fish you would target there. And that's like one of the ways they get them is slow trolling these big live baits. So we tried that for a while. We didn't have any hookups. So our baits ended up washing out eventually. So we just pulled that shit. And the dude's talking on the radio to another captain. I guess he had a spot. And he's like, oh, like, I guess there's some, fish going over here. So we ended up making kind of a long run. And the first spot, like, didn't pan out. Like, there was nothing going on. So we ran to the next one. And then it was like this river mouth area where it like spilled into the ocean in the back of this bay. And there was like so much bait, dude. Like, I'm talking like National Geographic bait in this bay. So like we pull in there and there's all these like I'll say 4 to 6 inch bait fish in these schools that are like acres big, and they're right on the surface. And so there's just like pelicans like dive bombing into this bait, and there's just fish blowing up everywhere. And there's like, I'll say 5 other boats back in this bay. Right. And I was like, oh, we're going to come in here and like everyone's going to be hooking up and whatever. So we're slowly driving into this bay. I'm just like standing on the bow with a spinning rod and a big popper. And I'm just like, as soon as I see something blow up, I'm just going to fire in there, driving in there. And we're like watching, and like no one is hooking up at all. And I was like, how is that possible? Like I can see the fish like mowing bait. Right. And so there's like a couple of boats that are like anchored, like obviously just have like rods out. And then like the other boats are just kind of like slowly maneuvering around in here. We're going in. And so as soon as we kind of get into the pack of boats, I see like this school of fish like blowing up on the surface. I fire it first cast, went in there, hits the water. I make one pull with the popper, and it just gets absolutely destroyed. I set the hook, and it's just like burning drag. It was another big jack. And then we proceeded to just like pistol whip these jacks. And like we caught some like Sierra mackerel, some nice ones in there. and we are just working all these other boats. Like this guy that we're with has zero shame. Like he's just driving, like cutting people off nonstop. And we're just like, okay, like I'm just standing on the front, just chucking that thing, you know, we're catching all these fish or whatever. But like no one else is catching anything, dude. And we're just like literally driving through everyone's shit, just like hooking up constantly. And like there's this one boat that's got like a whole family on it, and they all have like all their rods out with like bottom fishing stuff, you know. And they like their boat is parked in the middle of like a giant pot of bait, and there are fish just they're like blowing bait into the splash while on the boat. And these people have not caught a goddamn fish. They're just sitting there with like, you know, like bottom rigs. Like the fish are on the surface in like 25 feet of water, and these people are fishing
down.
Well, they're like fishing on the bottom.
Yeah.
And so finally the kid catches like a fish like this big, and they're all just screaming on this boat. Like they are losing their minds that they just caught this fish. And anyway, so we're fishing around. We're having a good time right now. We're catching fish. Like it's all good. This is cool. Like the scene is badass, right? Because you're just like seeing all this bait, and like these birds are just, there's like hundreds of pelicans in here just dive bombing up constantly. And so it starts to chill out a little bit. Like some of the other boats leave, and we're still like, it's not as hot and heavy now, but we're still like hooking up. Right. And there's this one dude, like jacked, like football looking guy, like standing on the bow of this other boat with this big like surf rod. And he's throwing this giant like surface iron, like a big one, like way bigger than the bait like that any of these fish are eating. But he's like I said, there's like a bunch of boats around. You know how you're like, and you're kind of fishing around people, you're making like shorter casts and stuff to kind of try to like, this guy he's making 150-yard casts, just bombing this iron around, but he would be like throwing it like over boats and shit. Like just like didn't care. He would just unload it in a random direction and just let it rip. So you'd just be like fishing, and all of a sudden you just see this thing just like into the water, like right by you. You're like, what the fuck was that? And like he never hooked up once, but it was just like crazy. Like he was just firing it into this like like pile of boats back in this bay, which was wild. And then the other thing that I got a kick out of was like, so after we're going through there messing with all that stuff, on our way out, we're just like, all right, let's let's try to like fish back through some of these areas, because we're obviously like still catching. And so it's the captain and his son is like the mate on the boat, right? So like when we'd like catch a fish or whatever, he was like gaffing it, right? But the whole time you could tell he was like not a good angler. Like everything he was doing was like totally not like right. Okay. And you could tell like the old man, like I don't speak Spanish, but I know what he was saying was like disapproval. And then he's like making fun of him, right, for like not being able to cast good and all this stuff. But this was crazy because like I don't know, I'm sure you've taken plenty of people that like either don't really fish or like you took it as a guide trip or whatever. So this dude is like the mate on the boat, right? And so we'd be like going in somewhere where there's like fish busting on the surface. So obviously I'm gonna like jump up on the bow and like throw in there. Like this is what I'm here to do, right? And so I'd like get up, and I got like, you know, a 9-foot spinning rod with a popper. I can throw it like pretty far, right, to like hit a spot. So we're like coming into it, and I'd wait till we're like in, you know, range of it. Okay, I'm gonna make a cast. And like, dude, without fail, for like after we'd caught a few, like I think these guys were kind of getting excited that it was kind of going down. Was like we'd be going into like where these fish are blowing up on the surface. I'd throw in there, and almost immediately this dude would cast over my line every goddamn time. And like we're fishing topwater, like throwing poppers, right? It's not like I'll just be like, oh, I'll just like let it sink and just like reel it under, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's not like I can just like bring it in underneath.
Avoid a tangle.
No. So then I'll be like, okay, like I'm not gonna say anything, you know, it's fine, it's whatever. And then the next time it's like, oh, there's like they're busting right here, and I'm just gonna like throw in there, and it like hit the water, and I'd pop it like twice, and then this other popper would just right across. I'm like, are you gonna be fucking kidding me right now, dude? Because the other thing, it's not like I was just like bass fishing where you just like hook one and just like wind it in, or like ski it. Like you hook this fish and it's like ripping drag, and you like fight it for a while. You know what I mean? So it's like it was mayhem as soon as you get like another hook like on your line or whatever. But anyway, it was kind of like a funny dynamic to like watch, because I was like, I even told my dad, I was like, yeah, I don't speak Spanish, but I know what he's saying to him right now. But it was all good. But it was fun, like being out there, and like I said, it's absolutely beautiful there. And I'd like to come back. We like the lady. So the lady that was like, you know, the like, oh, you pay the person, like the lady that was like the pimp for this guy, basically, who would like met us on the beach every day. Apparently November. So if you're gonna book a trip to Costa Rica, November is like prime time fishing month in Playa del Coco. So if you want to go beat them up, go there in November. There you go. But yeah, super fun trip, awesome food, awesome place. Like I said, I would go back in a heartbeat. I feel like I learned a lot, especially about the shore-based fishing. Like I'd go back probably with a little bit different gear, but yeah, cool fish to be had there, and had a good time. Kept a bunch of fish, brought a bunch of fish home, and got my fire going to go maybe do another big send somewhere for a fishing trip. So good time. Sweet. Yeah.
Always a good time.
Yeah.
The trips are fun. That's why I'm excited to be down here and just like,
I know
when you get entrenched in it, it's better.
Well, like, yeah, you got your mind is like locked into what you're doing. You know, it's not just like as casual. You're like, I'm here to like fish, you know?
Yeah.
So you're kind of all in. But all right. You guys want to run this weigh-in quick? I don't think this will be a long one.
Yeah, let's do her.
Okay, so this week we are doing a weigh-in of
what's a weigh-in for our new listeners? Okay. We got a lot of new listeners.
So weigh-in, we are in a snake draft order. We're going to select 4 items based on a topic that will be like our team, and then we will have you as the listeners vote on who has the best roster for essentially like the topic. So this week the topic is going to be best restaurant appetizers. So whoever's roster of the best 4 appetizers you think is the best, vote on that one. We're going to go, we have an order here. I didn't pick this, so you can't blame me on this one, but the order is, it'll be me, then Bart, then Hahner. So Hahner, you'll get 2 back-to-back. Okay. And then we'll go back around. So
this is based off of winners of won 2 times ago. We forgot to post the last graphic, so we will have a graphic up, and everybody can vote on it on social media. So follow Passive Barb on Instagram and Facebook, and you'll be able to be involved.
Yeah, because we didn't put the Easter candy one up, so that's all right. But okay, so I'm taking 1 of 1 here, which I feel like this one's going to be fairly competitive. So I feel like I might have to take one of these off the top. So I'm going to just do, I'm going to have to take the chips and queso as a 1 of 1.
Chips and queso is a fantastic answer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Plus, I knew you would take it otherwise. So
actually, I'm surprised you didn't take a different one that was extremely controversial, which will be my first pick because I feel like it's the true 1 of 1 for appetizers.
Okay.
And it's Ellsworth, specifically, cheese curds.
And you're talking fried.
Yeah, Ellsworth cheese curds.
Yeah. Deep fried cheese curds.
They are money. Because, I mean, people travel up here and they go to a restaurant and they're like, oh, I got to get cheese curds. Like, that's every time Panger comes up. He's like, we're getting cheese curds every meal.
It's a must cross off the list.
Dude, I will say, I did actually have some cheese curds I didn't like. Did I tell you about that?
Well, there's some, like, getting fancy. The ones that are really light.
These weren't fancy. They were too big. It was literally a block of it was like a 2-inch by 2-inch. Milwaukee, yes, Milwaukee Burger
the
Company.
Worst. Absolutely the
Milwaukee
worst.
Burger Company. They literally
I will never go back there ever again.
Cubes.
That place sucks.
Yeah. I do not like the cubed ones. The cubed ones are always too big, and the Ellsworth cheese curds are great. But they've been doing, you know what I'm talking about, Hahner, with like the lighter ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
They're like, you bite in and it like somehow you get a puff of air and you're like, what? I'm here for grease, motherfucker.
Yeah. Yep. I want that fair carny cheese curd, not whatever you're.
Yeah, give me some greased out fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, solid. I like that. Ellsworth deep fried cheese curds. Got it. All right, Hahner, you go back to back here.
All right. Let's see. I'm going to do jalapeno poppers.
Ooh, there you go.
That's a great one.
And then I just had sex, and now I'm about to eat fucking nachos.
Nachos.
The best day of my life.
Probably loaded.
Nachos. Yeah, preferably.
Do you have a specific meat?
Because they're gonna say beef or chicken.
No, they're not. Nachos.
Okay.
It comes either way they make them.
All right. Fair.
All right.
All right.
Bart.
I'm up, and I will go. So for my second pick, I'm going to go with one that was so popular that people buy it for a meal now.
Mm-hmm.
Traditional buffalo wings.
Yeah.
Right.
That was my next up.
And you're talking bone in.
Yep, traditional bone in.
I like that. Those are good. Fuck.
Traditional buffalo wings are awesome.
All right. I like that. I'm gonna go spinach and artichoke dip.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I like that shit.
You're going heavy on the dips.
Always, dude. I am. I just wanted to get them, like they're
yeah.
I like a good dip.
Good. Those are good.
And then I'm gonna take a couple of these have been taken here. I'm gonna take the big pretzel.
I was thinking about
like pretzel with big pretzel with cheese.
That's a very good one. Okay, for my next pick, I want to go somewhere, but I don't know if it'll run into Hahner, so I have to ask the question. Because I feel like they're different, but you could.
Well, we have a chips and queso and a nachos.
Yeah,
so.
And I was
but
gonna
those aren't the same.
Yeah, so I was gonna go with I love when you get smoked barbecue pork nachos. Like they're very specific. They got the banana peppers and shit on them. Like they're normally on a sheet tray. If you won't allow it, I get it, but I feel like it's different than the one Hahner's saying. Like I know the ones you're saying, the ones that are loaded up like fucking nachos, and most places don't have the pork ones, so that's why I'm asking.
I got Hahner down for loaded nachos.
That's what I have too. Dude, what do you think, Hahner?
We're talking incremental.
Yeah, but I'm also thinking that someone could take a different type of wing. Like
it's true. Well,
I don't know, man. I feel like I kind of feel like nachos is nachos for this, but I mean,
if you guys think nachos is nachos, we can go nachos. That's fine. But I wanted to bring it up because I like.
I'm thinking nachos is nachos on this one. Because it doesn't matter how they come. Like I'm getting nachos.
Because everywhere has
cheese,
nachos, right?
Little spice, a meat to it. That's a nacho to me.
All right, that's fine.
All right.
That's fair.
It's settled.
So then my next one I'm gonna go with a little bit different. Fried green beans.
Oh,
I love fried green beans.
Yeah. Solid pick.
Light gets the meal going and just delicious.
All right. Hahner, where you at?
All right, so I'm gonna go with fried fungus.
Okay, yeah, like that.
Fried mushroom. And then you know what? I'm just gonna go with fries.
Ooh, there you go.
I feel like
any particular style.
Beer battered fries.
Oh, fuck me. Those are good. I hadn't
feel
had
like
those.
That's a no miss.
I hadn't had those.
Dude, those are super
Till,
good.
like, actually not that long ago, and I was like, fuck, yeah.
You would know. You would know.
Dude, there's this place right next to mine. Alyssa and I just started getting it as an appetizer. I don't even get fries with my meal anymore because of it. And they bring out so many that you just eat it with your meal.
Yeah.
They have, they're just regular fries, but the seasoning on them, they put a bunch of dill and like garlic and salt on them. So they're dill fries. They're fucking incredible.
Yeah.
They're really good.
Yeah. That does sound good. Damn.
All right. For my last pick, I'm going to go with one that in Minnesota, people know it because State Fair, it got super popular, but places have it now as an appetizer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go duck bacon wontons.
Oh, fuck. All right.
I can't believe it lasted that long.
That wasn't specifically what I wanted, but I think mine was too close to it to
yeah. Yeah. Those are they're good. They're
what did
so
you say,
good.
I was gonna take wonton tacos, but it's basically
yeah.
Because those are fire.
They're so good. They only bring you like 6 of them. That's the reason I don't order them more. But God, they're so good.
Oh God. Okay.
What do you got for the last pick, Pink?
Damn it. Oh, I have 2 here, and I feel like one is the obvious choice, but I should pick the other one. I'm too heavy on I got dips, I got fucking pretzel. All right, I'm taking I'm gonna regret this. I'm taking onion rings.
It's a good one.
Onion rings.
Yeah, I feel like it's a classic.
It is a classic. Onion rings are good. We got any honorable mention?
I do. Fuck, I should
have.
I'll list everyone's teams first, and then we'll talk them.
All right, yeah, go.
So we got Pinkalla with chips and queso, spinach and artichoke dip, big pretzel with cheese, and onion rings. Solid lineup.
Pretty good. Yeah.
I have got Ellsworth cheese curds, traditional buffalo wings, fried green beans, and duck bacon wontons.
Yeah, I'd come to that party.
Good about that. Feel like that's a very good lineup.
Mm-hmm.
We got Hahner with jalapeno poppers, loaded nachos, fried mushrooms, and beer battered fries.
Nice.
Great.
I was torn. I was gonna take firecracker shrimp because I freaking love those, dude.
Firecracker shrimp are good. I every round we got to, I almost took it, but then I remembered a different one I wanted. But mozzarella sticks are a classic.
Yeah, I had that written down too. I had that written down too, but I was like,
mozzarella sticks are a classic. Like good mozzarella sticks. Like you bite into it, you pull the cheese away, and it's like super long.
Yeah,
like that. Yeah. Those are the good ones.
Gotta have that cheese pull, dude. Yeah.
You like deep fried pickles?
I'm like, that's a miss. 50. I love deep fried pickles.
See, I totally blew it.
Deep fried pickles is a very good one. Yeah. I'm surprised we missed that.
I'm mad at myself for not taking this. I just didn't think it would be as popular. But now that I'm thinking it back, I should have taken mini tacos.
Mini tacos are good.
Like just straight up the ones from the bar, like not fancy at all.
Yep, the microwave version.
Yes.
Yeah. Just straight bean.
Oh God, I could eat about 500 of those.
Mm-hmm.
God damn.
I also love a good. It runs in with the chips and queso, but I get this one a lot if it's offered. If they have like chips, salsa, and guac.
Yeah.
Always love that. That's
always so good. That was what they would have. So like in Costa Rica, when you like go to a spot, they always had just on the menu was just chips and dips.
Yeah,
and they just brought you all the shit.
Northern Tap House in Lakeville, like a year after it opened, redid their appetizers, and they added one that was chips, queso, guac, salsa. Got it every single time.
Yeah.
Just everything good.
I could eat.
No, so that's a good one. So just a reminder for everybody, you can hop onto our social media and vote for those. Those will get posted. But yeah, that's another weigh-in. Non-contentious, just talking appetizers. That's a good one. We do have ones we've done that are very contentious.
Yeah. And maybe next time we'll do one of those.
Yeah, maybe we'll do a hot topic next time. People give us one. Best excuses for forward-facing sonar sucking. Oh, that could be a good one. The number one complaints in fishing right now. Could do that.
Oh, God.
Get everyone all riled up.
Yeah. All right, boys. Well, I'm looking forward to at least maybe getting to do a little bit more fishing over the next couple weeks. I think it should be exciting.
The weather is going to warm back up. We got like a false spring, which we knew it was. In like February, March, it got really early, and then all the lakes opened up, and then right after, it's like snow and cold, and the lakes are still open. It just sucks. It's not fun to be out there. So,
yeah, I hear you.
This season is upon us.
Sweet. Well, anything else you boys want to get into here tonight?
Nah, I think we're good.
I'm good too.
Yeah, I'm about to cover up in some sheets, but about it.
This has been another episode of Pass the Barb. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.